got another episode, and I have two legends here. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
We got Mike. We got D. It's been a little bit since I've talked to D on a live before, but I'm glad to have you back on the channel, man.
Definitely. Happy to be here.
Happy Saturday to everyone. Happy weekend to everybody. Today we're having our episode 4. I want to thank everybody that is watching now live and after the fact. Episode number 4, where we'll be talking theater etiquette and maybe throwing a little bit of cinema experiences as well in there. So that's going to be all open for this episode. We want to let everybody know that if you are leaving comments and it's for the actual subject that we are going to be talking about, we'll add that into the conversation. If it's anything else, we'll save it for the end after we're done talking about the subject. That way we stay on track and we can keep the discussion going and we can answer any comments in the comment section as well. We appreciate everybody for joining and leaving comments and supporting and watching the stream and getting involved. That definitely helps out and helps the conversation flow. So thank you guys for all the support that you guys have done so far. Well, first I will introduce my co-host. To the right, we got Mike from Did You See That? How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Ryan. Yeah, man, I'm doing good. Great to be here as always. And it's also awesome to see on this stream. I've had the pleasure of meeting both these guys, however I do the angles there, whatever. I don't know. It's there. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of meeting both of these guys. Two actual really close friends as well of mine. So I'm really looking forward to this. And also, thank you, Dee, for joining us today.
Thank you very much. And then we'll introduce our guest today. We got D from Movieman. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Happy to be here with two of my, I won't say favorite because I don't want certain people to get mad if they watch. But let's just say two cinematic compadres that I really enjoy. And yes, we have had the opportunity to meet up in person, had a wonderful experience at Planet Hollywood. Ended far too soon, but hey, I still have a very important core memory that has stayed with me. And yes, so I'm happy to be here with those two good friends of mine. And yes, I'm excited to chat about cinema etiquette and so much more.
Awesome, man. Glad to have you back on the channel and have you on here once again. And also, Dee just dropped a video for a new movie. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. It's so bad. It's such a long title. But
yes,
it is. A new video.
Yes, it is the American Society of Magical Negroes. I had the chance to see it in person at Sundance, and I'm still, of course, rolling out my Sundance content. But yeah, if you know me, you know that some films require some in-depth introspection, and the film is one of those. So if you if you're interested in some very insightful, layered commentary with a tinge of passive aggression, then please check it out. Yes, right here on my channel.
Definitely, and he also does series reviews as well. So definitely check that out. Give him a sub.
Go subscribe to that legend right there.
He just crossed the 1,000 mark not too long ago. So
yeah,
congratulations on that. I haven't got a chance to formally talk to you and tell you that in person. So here we go to letting you know that now. But I guess we'll get ready to get into the stream. I think we have a couple comments from people saying hi. We got Lewis saying, hey, what's going on, Lewis?
How you doing, man?
Well. And we also got Drew in here saying, what's up?
Hey, Drew.
Hey, Drew.
The legend of streams, that man.
Definitely is.
Also got Sin saying, won't be able to watch or listen. We'll be at a con while this is playing. Maybe I can catch on the replay. Sounds good, Sin. You're always supportive, so we definitely appreciate the support. Definitely, and hope you have a good time at the con. And thank you for watching after the fact. That's still good. Yeah. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, have a great time, Sin.
Yes,
definitely. So I guess we'll get ready to get into our theater etiquette. Should we start off like you think, like? One person should say, what they one of their theater etiquette. I guess I'll start off, and say like one of the things I like to do when I go to a theater is definitely arrive early. That's definitely one of the things that I think is the most important. That's a little bit underrated, I would say, because sometimes even with my folks or like my wife or whatever, they're all like, man, you always go so darn early, getting there like a half an hour early. And I'm like, I want to get in my seat.
Mm-hmm. Man, I just don't think they understand the importance of getting there early.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Ryan, as well. I'll be interested to hear what Dee's thoughts is. I'm pretty sure he's the same. Yeah, I don't like arriving there, and I mean the worst thing is people who come in late and then they come in shining their flashlight like this.
Always.
And I'm just like, can you not see the pictures on the screen right now? We're watching a movie. And yeah, I just don't know why you'd want to leave it that late. Because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but here in the UK, we get about 20-25 minutes before it actually starts with like the cinema trailers and then the actual movie trailers.
Right.
So I always like to get there for like, as the trailers are just starting or maybe just before then. How about you, Dee?
Yes. So I am big on getting there early. That actually started, it's been fully cemented now, but even when I was really getting into my full swing of going to the theater solo in my college, university days, I kind of, I don't know. Well, part of it also for me was just like, I knew the process. Sometimes I would have to call a taxi. Sometimes I would walk from the university, which was a good walk, but I had to give myself enough time anyway, because there were times where I was on the struggle bus as far as money, and I'm like, look, we're just going to have to walk today, listen to my music, and let's just let's just go on an adventure. How about that? All the way to the theater. But yes, I made it a point to get there early for that point, and then I realized that most of the time there were a lot of things, well, maybe not a lot of things, but there were preliminary things that needed to be in place once I got there. And of course, now we're kind of in the full swing of reserved seating, but that wasn't quite, if that was a thing back then, I wasn't familiar with it, or even like ordering online, I wasn't used to that. So I would have to get there early to make sure I lock down my seat, make sure I have like a jacket and a bag with me, so that if someone is coming with me, I got this seat and I got this seat right here. Make sure I can go to the restroom, make sure I can get my popcorn, make sure there isn't any other additional whatever. Somebody calls me or I have something important, get everything out the way so that once I'm in the seat, I'm good and I can start, not even with the trailers, but even with the commercials they show before the trailers. If I'm paying for this ticket, I want to see it all. Beginning to end, post credit until the screen goes black. That is it. So yes.
I can imagine Dee reserving seats, just putting like one show.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially for certain movies. Like if I know that it's something that everyone is coming to see this at this particular time. I also am big on matinees. So usually at matinees, that's not always as big of an issue. But if it just so happens to be a premiere type situation, and I know people are coming, folks will be swarming into those seats. So I'm just like, boom, boom, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree with that. I remember doing those things too. Like if you bring your family with you and you're like, I'll save your seats, you'll get the popcorn.
Right.
Always used to do that.
Yeah, especially if it was unreserved seating. Yeah, you had to. For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, you're going to be in the front row and no one wants to sit in the front row.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do this. No.
Yeah. Unless you're Richard G, who likes sitting in row B every time.
Exactly.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I think he said he couldn't see. Like, I think he has issues seeing or something.
I think you need some better glasses if that's the case.
I think so too.
Man, I just don't get it.
Well, yeah, more power to people who can do it, but I'm good.
Yeah, and Dee made a good point too, because like obviously they have the reserved seating now, so because of that, a lot of people tend to like, okay, I picked my seat, I'm just gonna go ahead and just get there like when the trailers are going, or I think there is kind of because like the other night I went to go see Imaginary, and a lot of people were arriving when the trailers were going on, but there was also people arriving after the trailers. So I think that some people sometimes feel like the trailers are much longer than they really are. I mean, but I mean, people, they'll do that. They'll just show up right in when the movie's already started, 10 minutes in. See it all the time.
I've seen it as well. I mean, Ryan, I gave you an example the other day. I always like to get there early for the trailers. And I say the average is about 20, 25 minutes. But a few weeks back when me and Emma went to see Argyle, it was about maybe 15 minutes maximum. And we walked in and about 5 minutes of the movie must have already been playing.
Yeah.
Because I thought, all right, we'll get in there perfect time. We'll get a few minutes to settle down, but it was already playing. So I don't know if it depends on the longer run it has, the less trailers the show. Like towards the back end of it, I don't know.
Yeah.
And Dee's had enough already. All right, thanks, Steve, for joining. He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll definitely be back. We do got Colin in here saying, "Hey guys, theater etiquette, definitely buy eat nachos for A Quiet Place day one."
You know what it is? I would laugh at this, but I had popcorn during Quiet Place. So I can't really talk Holland, I'll be honest. Because I just remember seeing Quiet Place, and it's one of those movies. Obviously, the trailer was silent, but I was like, it's not going to be silent when it's playing, surely. Oh boy, right. I was wrong.
I think we got D back. We got him back.
Yes.
And you say, yeah.
It's like he's already gone. He's done with this.
Right.
Oh man.
We were just talking about a comment here from Holland. He says definitely eat nachos for A Quiet Place day one.
Oh boy.
I mean, I thought that was.
I will say this. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll definitely the A Quiet Place, the first film, and even the second, even though it was a little bit different. But yeah, A Quiet Place, the first film was definitely a very unique cinema experience. I've never seen people so hesitant to eat popcorn and talk and interact and all that. Everyone was just kind of like, everyone was so on edge. So yeah, it was hilarious.
It's definitely different.
Me too. I was just saying, D, that like for The Quiet Place, obviously the trailer was really quiet, of course. And I thought, it's not going to be like this. So here I am, medium popcorn, quiet screen, and not many people in at all. And by the end, my jaw was aching with how quiet I was trying to eat. I've got a story to share about that experience as well, a little bit later.
We also have Dark Room in the house saying, "Hey Raven, good to see you live. Hey Dark Room, nice for you to join us. Definitely appreciate it.
You're doing well. Yeah, if you guys are watching live, feel free to share some theater etiquette with us or some horror stories you've maybe had in the cinema, and we'll share them on the chat.
Definitely like that. That definitely we could use some comedy for sure.
One thing I want to ask you guys is, on top of this etiquette, right? One thing I want to ask you is, I don't know if you've ever had this, but this was the perfect example. So the other day I went to see Lisa Frankenstein, and I went to see Lisa Frankenstein, and it was about a 1 p.m. showing. So going through the movie, and everyone was in on time, everyone was quiet and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not kidding, 10 minutes before the end, 2 older women came into the cinema, through the door, so you could hear the door banging. Here they are with their drinks and nachos, sitting watching the last 10 minutes of Lisa Frankenstein.
Yes, I have that. I've had it happen many of times.
And I'm just like, what brings these people to do this? Like, can't you see the big 1-0 outside?
Right.
And that the movie's playing.
But then after the film ended, they walked out, and both of them looked puzzled to be like, "Oh, we walked into the wrong screening." And it wasn't as if they were there for like the next showing of Lisa Frankenstein, because it wasn't for like another 3 hours later either. So I don't know what movie they were going to see, but it wasn't Lisa Frankenstein.
Yeah, I've definitely had that happen before. I can't remember what movie it was, but I was watching, I think it was that horror movie Fear last year. Was it last year?
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
That came out, and then 2 old ladies walked in, and it was like, I don't know, maybe like, because the movie wasn't long. I think it was only like 100 minutes, 90 minutes, something like that. They came in, it was like maybe the 70, 80-minute mark, and they sat down, and I just hear them in the, like, towards like the front of the row. This is terrible. This is all this violence. Like, I was like, you're in the wrong movie, I think.
Oh man, I would have loved to have known what they were going to see, and then they just walk in, and that's playing.
Well, I think afterwards there was like a Fathom event where they were doing some religious movie or something.
Oh wow!
So can you imagine walking into that and you're going to go see some religious movie? So that was really funny.
I just don't get it though, because I say outside the screenings, they've got the big numbers to tell you what screen it is, and it's when you go walk in, surely you think, hold on, this doesn't seem quite right, or maybe I'm like 20 minutes early, you know?
Well, to be fair, in their defense, this theater that I went to, all the screens, like I think I've told you this before, the Regal that I have, all the screens are broken. Like they used to have monitors that had on each side what movies are playing, and then even on the outside where like it lists the number, and like normally we would list like the movie name, they're all broken. So you have to read your ticket or listen to what like the usher says, like you're in theater 5 or wherever, and I'm sure they didn't listen. They're probably talking or something, and they didn't look at what number it was, and they walked into a movie. I mean, well, technically they were in the right theater, technically, but they were there early, so they probably didn't know another movie was going on.
Right.
Dee, have you ever had anything like that happen to you?
Oh, with people like walking into. Oh, well, I'll say this. I'm trying to think. I feel like it was almost. I feel like it might have been something like Quantum Mania or like similar, like a real like random like a big release. But I don't think it was Quantum Mania. It was something around that time. But two people came in, and they sat next to my mom and I, and I kind of was a little because number one, they smelled like weed. So I was just like, don't really want to smell this while I'm watching this film. Weed ain't for me, and the smell definitely ain't for me. So I was like, okay, that's gonna get on my nerves. And they seem like talkers, and then I'm like, is the chatter gonna end once the film starts? Because that's gonna get on my nerves as well. Then randomly, it's like as the film is starting, two other people come up down the row. I'm thinking they're about to go past us because there are like two other seats on this side. And they come up and they tell the people, oh, like, these are our seats. Like, did we get booked for the same seat? And they were like, oh, okay. And they got up and then they left out the theater and then never came back. So I was like, you just randomly walk into the theater, was just like, oh, okay, let's just hop in these seats. Like, it was weird. It was very weird.
Yeah.
Man, I wonder I don't know if they're maybe trying to sneak in or something.
But I guess, which again is not really. Maybe back in the day that was a little easier to do that, but I'm like, the way we have AMC and Regal and the apps and how everything is set up, I'm like, more often than not, these folks will be like, these things will be reserved ahead of time, especially if it's like a big film, especially on like a Thursday night, Friday night, even a Saturday night. So it's just like, not sure if you guys haven't got with the times yet, but no, and especially where we were sitting, like right prime, like right in the middle, kind of like a ideal row. I was like, no.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't get how it happens. You're right. Like, there's always an usher. At least my cinema sounds like the same for you guys. There's always someone at either side, because you've got like screens 1 to 4 this side, or like 5 to like 11 this side. There's always an usher at those. So like them two women the other day, I was like, how have they been allowed to go up here? I don't get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've definitely been in that situation. I feel like the Friday and Saturday nights are the biggest culprits for the teenagers to hop around movies and just sit wherever and mess around. I remember I had that problem last year. I went to go see, I believe it was The King's Daughter. I can't remember if that was last year or the year before, but I had a bunch of teens just sitting at the top. They're there not to watch the movie, of course. They're there to giggle and play around and shine their phone lights. I mean, that just aggravates the hell out of you. I'll never understand like the teenagers today why they go to the movies and just mess around, don't watch the movie. Like I didn't do that when I was a teen at all. I mean, maybe we talked a little bit. I can't say that I'm not guilty of that because obviously I think we probably did that. But
Yeah.
I never movie hopped or went into movies and ran. I mean, I've seen them run around in the theaters, shine their lights. Anything you can name, they're doing. They shouldn't be doing.
I think it's a different age though. Like when we were probably teenagers, we didn't have iPhones or smartphones. We had like maybe like those like little kind of brick phones. Well, we called them like brick phones, the old old phones.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're right, Ryan. Like maybe you would like have like a little chat, a little giggle, or find. I remember going as a teenager and seeing Date Movie and thinking it was like the funniest thing ever. And then I watched it a few years ago and I was like, oh boy, I should slap teenage Mike across the face. Tell him what he's doing, But yeah, I think it's a different time. But I agree. I don't know why they go nowadays and think, it's great just to shine a. Or like, like you're watching a movie and then all of a sudden the light comes up like this. You could just see them. And then goes away and then like a minute later like that again. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, it's just so disrespectful to other people.
Yeah, I just don't think you care.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've already warned not even my friends because if they know well and they should know not to do this, but I kind of fear for anyone who sits in close proximity to me and then turns their phone on, especially if the light is super bright, because depending on like the mood that I'm in, like we might, and especially if there's like anticipation, I've settled in and I'm ready to just relax, getting off work. It's been a crazy week. And if I suddenly see this in my peripherals, we might end up on the 6 o'clock news. I can't promise that I will be in my right mind at that point. So yes, I'm like, I've already told folks, please don't, because it's not even something I can avoid. It's just like almost like how, like a gnat or a fly will just kind of buzz and you can't focus. You can't. Yeah, it's like everything is dark except the screen. So anything else, any ambient light, is a problem for me.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, D always kids about with me with the police and the ambulance, but and I'm expecting to see D on the news.
Listen, Mike, but have you heard anything on my voice notes? That's all I'm saying. It's not painting a good picture for you, my friend. That's all I'm saying.
Every time a voice note, D, I'm driving in the car. There's always a police or ambulance go by every voice note.
Every time.
Really? That's
and
crazy.
he's like, "Are you okay, Mike? What have you been doing?"
Exactly.
Wow. Every time I hear D's voice note, it's just ping, ping. Just alert central over here.
Always. I'm just like, why? I'm like, and see, okay, this is besides the point, but like WhatsApp, I never realized that when you do WhatsApp, at least starting off, that it would capture phone noises. I just figured it was its own kind of app thing, because usually most of the time I don't have that issue, but WhatsApp, they're like, nope, you're gonna get everything.
Interesting. I've never used it.
That's good, right? It's good.
Okay. Maybe I'll have to use it at some point if I know anybody to use it for, but no, I've never had the chance to use it. So that's interesting.
We just Facebook voice note, so it's all good.
Yeah, we send each other pretty long voice notes, but it's cool. It keeps the day going,
Yeah, well, I'm glad someone else appreciates it, because I don't think everyone is. I don't know. Well, I won't say I don't know why, because everybody's different. But to me, the voice note thing is very easy and very simple and very straightforward. But for some folks, it's like I send voice notes and they send text back, and I'm like, all right, well, won't be doing this anymore.
Yeah, everybody has their preferences, so to speak. I was gonna say, you were talking about the whole cop thing. If somebody made you mad or whatever. When I worked at the cinema, because I used to work up a couple of different cinemas, but the one that I worked up here, like by my house, almost every Friday night we had to call the cops on the teenagers all the time because they were acting a fool. We'd kick them out. They get pissed off. They're like, "We want a refund." I'm like, "No, we're not giving you one. You're messing around." They hop in and out of theaters. What they would like to do is they would buy a ticket, right? Because I used to be the person at the box, and they would say like they'd buy a ticket for some PG-13 movie for 7 o'clock, or they would do like a kids movie or something. They would then go to McDonald's, would not watch half the movie, come back. They'd be like 30 minutes late. They'd go into the movie, and then they would want to try to bring the McDonald's in, and then they would try to hop into different screens. Like if there was like a rated R movie, like a horror movie or some action flick or whatever it was, they would try to hop into there. They would also trash like the arcade area. They would leave all their trash around there all the time. And then we had tables too. They would always leave their trash everywhere, spill the popcorn everywhere, nachos on the floor. I mean, you name it, they would just be slobs. And it's just like, they're not there to watch the movie. They're just there to hang out. The parents drop them off, and they go to pick them up. And then, the parents want to fight with you too. It's like, I mean, you drop these little munchkins off to us to make us babysit them. And then they cause havoc. And then we got to call cops and everything and get them kicked out. And they really can't do too much, really. All they can really do is give them technically like a trespassing type thing, or like they can kick them out, but I don't think they can necessarily ban them or anything like that, unless obviously they did something like destructive or something, obviously. But it was just interesting because it seemed like it was an every Friday night thing, and we just never had enough staff on hand to be able to watch every single one of them, because we would get complaints. Oh, they're giggling or they're shining their phones or whatever, and it was an every Friday night thing. Like we just prepared for it every Friday night.
Man, and was that just a regular thing, and it'd be like the same police every Friday, be like, "Oh, it's same time again next week, Ryan"?
Well, the thing is, dude, they would send like 3 or 4 cop cars. I'm like, for this, because a shooting didn't happen or anything. It's just people causing disturbance. I mean, they send the whole police squadron out there.
Yikes.
So I mean, you have to laugh a little bit about it, but
wow,
it was always interesting because the other thing too is you could always tell it was a Friday or Saturday night, because the way that my theater down here is set up is, okay, so it faces further back from the road, but then like you have like a gap between the theater and to walk up, and there's like a big old like grassy field, and people fly through the field and they do like donuts and stuff, and there's like this gravel and everything, so people are revving their engines and they're running their motorcycles through there and everything. I mean, you could tell it's a Friday night when they're doing all that.
Oh man, I mean, Ryan, when you worked at the cinema, or even D, your experiences, did you guys ever realize like the police waiting outside of the cinema after the screen is shown, like for someone who was in that screen and you were in?
For me, there like sometimes like where used to be some of the theaters, they used to hire a cop to literally sit there on a Friday or Saturday night. But the problem is the cost of hiring a cop is so expensive. I mean, the theater doesn't make enough money to be able to afford, because they have to pay them by the hour. They get, I forget like how much it was. They told me one time how much it was, and it's extremely expensive. It's, I mean, I guess it keeps order, but at the same time, I mean, it's, if you have to do that and hire them for the whole weekend, it's really tough to do that. So most of the time, no, I didn't like see cops around, but there were times where we did have a cop. We did have like a security guy at my other theater that I worked at, a Regal, and we had him on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, but he would come in the evenings, more so during the prime time. So like maybe like 5 o'clock he would come in, and he would stay till closing time, but he really wasn't technically an officer. He was more like a security guy that had a gun, but he wasn't like certified police officer. So we would pay him to just stand around in the front, and he would just play on his phone, really. I mean, that's literally what the guy would do. I'm dead serious. The guy would just play on his phone. I think one time he was playing like ping pong or something on his phone. So that's what we paid the guy to do.
Yikes.
Living the American dream.
Absolutely.
We do have a couple of comments in here.
Yeah, go.
M saying hi.
Hey,
Gonna catch up on a few comments.
Hope you're doing well.
Al saying greetings. What's up, Al?
Hey Al.
We got your buddy Sai in here saying hi. What's up, Sai?
Hey Sai, hope you're doing well, man. Thanks for tuning in. Yes. Thank any of you guys for watching.
We do have one question. Al says, "How long have you stayed at a theater in one day?"
I don't know about you guys. The maximum I've done 4 showings in a day once. I would have to have a look what day that was, but it was a few years ago. I do plan on doing a video at some point soon where I try to do 5 or 6 movies in a day.
Oof. Wow.
It's I'm gonna vlog the whole thing as well, so you're gonna see like you'll see like my mood like this in the morning to like like that at the end.
I think the most I've done is 3 movies. I used to, I think I may have told you this before, but Regal used to do the $5 Sundays.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah, this was like years back, probably, I don't know, maybe 8-10 years ago, something like that. And I used to just, you would either double or triple up and just see a bunch of movies that one day, spread them out and go all day. But now, like you were saying, you were going to try to do 6. I don't think I could ever do 6 in a day. And not because I don't think I have the energy to or to sit down, but the times here don't allow to really do that because most of the theaters here, when they open up, it's usually 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They don't really do morning show times. So really, when it comes to like an hour and a half or 2-hour movie, maybe you could do maybe 3, but I don't think you could do probably more than 3 just because of how the times line up.
Oh yeah, it's all about the time, and yeah, I mean, you're right. Like same as you guys, through the week it doesn't open till like 12, 1 o'clock. But on weekends it usually opens at 10, so it'd have to be like a weekend day,
right?
And I'd have to make sure there's like 5 movies I've not seen at that point, so I can go watch them all.
That's true.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't really like going to see a movie for a second time in the cinema unless I really love the movie like that much. I'll go again.
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
So okay, so I know that again, college town, university days. I remember we used to have a $1 theater or a $2 theater, and so I remember. And I can't remember I'm pretty sure I did this at least once myself and then another time with one of my friends. But it was just like, well, since these films only cost but so much, and this is kind of a free day. And I think I probably also, it was probably during the summer. So it was kind of when things were open, chill, didn't really have to work, class, didn't have a lot to really do. So we decided to go, and I wish I could remember what I saw. I kind of think I have a feeling one of Tyler Perry's movies was out around that time, and I think we saw not Ender's Game. Yeah, I can't remember. It were a lot of films out, but it was like a back to back. So we at least saw 3 films back to back, and it was a fun time. It was just like we kind of went from one to the next, and it weren't paying a whole lot. And I think we probably did a quick break. Ran over because we were near the area. It was like a bunch of food places nearby. So we literally got to cross the street, Mexican over here, Thai food over here, burgers and stuff over here. So it was a fun time. We went back to back. And I don't think more than 3. Now, I will say this, if we're talking about hours, then technically I spent 5 hours at the theater one time because I drove down. My college is very, very like right near the border of Florida. So one time I decided, this was for Avengers Infinity War. I was like, okay, I'm not going to this theater that's here because this is the final, conclusion to all this MCU buildup. And I'm like, I need to be able to have the premium experience. And I had my car at that point. So I was like, okay, I'm driving down to, I believe it's Orange Park. They have a Dolby Cinema and an IMAX Cinema, and I am going. My mom didn't want me to go because the route to get there involves areas that don't have where your signal goes out. So she didn't want it to be a situation where I got stuck on the side of the road, something happened, and then I literally can't contact anybody. And if we've seen, we've seen plenty of movies, we've seen enough movies to know that, trying to like knock on somebody's door, you don't know what's going to happen. So it could go left very quickly. So but anyway, long story short, ended up going with one of my friends, had a great time. We were listening to music, nice little mini road trip, had some food to eat, saw the film, had a great time, drove back, and then found out that the ministry, kind of college ministry organization I was a part of, everybody was going. And I was like, well, I went early in the day. So I'm like, by the time we got back, it was like 6 going on 7. I was like, I probably shouldn't do this, but it would be nice to watch this knowing what happens and seeing everyone else react. And that's what I love about rewatching movies with people, or definitely films that they haven't seen for the first time. I just seeing what their reactions are. And so end up, dropping my friend off, and then I saw another one. So altogether, that was 5 hours, altogether, minus the gas and the time it took to go all these different places. But yes, so it was a 5-hour day, and I did Infinity War technically back to back.
Wow. That's crazy.
I can imagine, though, that you're sitting there with like the rest of the people, like, oh, that moment's coming up. Here we go.
Exactly. And it was great because I just like and I love a good not overboard, but I love an audience that is interactive because it makes it more fun for me. It just feels like everyone is just having fun and having a good time. And it was one of those where everyone was in it. Everyone was laughing. Everyone was shocked when it was time to be shocked. Everyone was, crying when it was time to cry. Yeah. So it was a great theater experience. So I'm glad I didn't miss out on that.
See, it's quite rare for us to have that in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been a few showings I've ever been to, D, where the people are actually interactive, because like here it's like everyone's dead silent for the entire picture, unless it's obviously like laughing moments and stuff,
Right.
So when I went to see Barbarian with Perez in 2022 and I came over, everyone was talking. I was like, what the hell's going on? I was like, shut up. But watch Barbarian, everyone was like shouting, don't go in that basement, or like the character Keith, they're like, oh fuck Keith, don't go after him. And I was laughing, but I was like, I was shocked. It was like out my element. And then when we went to see Pearl, I think I told you guys, we went to see Pearl, and of course towards the end when me and Gossa got a big monologue, the short fell asleep halfway through it.
Of course he did.
He woke up and he's like, is that bitch still talking?
That sounds just like him. Yes.
That's funny.
But I'm just like, oh man. So yeah, the vocal differences with you guys and over here is completely different.
Yes, good culture shock.
Yeah, that's definitely different, because it's funny because I mentioned it in my imaginary review that I just posted, but when I was watching it, like I had a bunch of people like talking that, and they were saying, "Oh shit, don't like the door and all that stuff," and like they were like making all these comments, and I call them Charlie Browns. That's what I call them. But anyway, they were talking through that like first 30-40 minutes of the movie, and then they just stopped. there was nothing. So I felt like maybe the audience definitely got bored like I did in that movie because they didn't say anything.
I think so. D, have you seen Imaginary yet?
I have not. And going off of what you two and Perez have said, I probably shouldn't. So that's there's an issue there. Now, I will say this, if nothing else, I will get, what's funny, a lot of times, and it's and if I can ever get back into the swing of this, I'll be able to give more of my thoughts on this. But the reason I'm a big trailer fan, and I have an appreciation for well-crafted trailers. Or even if they're not the best trailers, I can appreciate something about something they use to highlight the film that they're advertising. And so Imaginary, I mean, it didn't look like it was reinventing the wheel. However, I will say I am a sucker for any trailer that does uses a classic song and remixes it in like a horror type of vibe. They did that with I Got 5 on It for the Jordan Peele's Us. I loved that. And then for this film, for this trailer for Imaginary, they did Just My Imagination with the Temptations. They flipped that around. So I will say, just from that standpoint, I did love that. Didn't have high expectations for the movie. But, the challenge with me is I feel like people want me to watch more movies that might potentially be bad, just so they can hear me drag them. But I'm almost like, but I refuse. So that's kind of the issue. I need to lean into my audience a little bit more. But there are like, I'll be honest, if anyone, even if I don't know if anyone could have paid me to watch Strays. Like it's just like no. I just can't do it. Now with now the kicker is like when it comes to views. Like let's just say I could somehow guarantee that the algorithm would be like, yes, do this. I'd have to consider it, but it would still be a challenge because it's just like, gosh, this looks horrible. And must I subject myself to this, for the sake of engagement? And sometimes the answer is yes. So we'll see.
I just thought this was a funny comment. Bad movies are my bread and butter.
It really is. It really is. I remember Lisa was asking me about and only reason I didn't get to do it is because I forgot about it. But Lisa was asking me about what is it, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? And I was like, oh, Lisa, I love you so much, but I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. Oh my gosh, just the trailer for that film, I was just like, I don't know if I could do it. And we're getting a sequel, so there's that.
Of course we are.
Of course.
Gotta have a sequel.
Sounds like me and Al, by the way, will be better friends, I think.
He does like bad movies. We have a couple stories in here. I guess we'll go ahead and share those. Sai says, I went to a screening of Star Wars sequel trilogy, 6 p.m. for 7, 9 p.m. for 8, and midnight for the premiere of 9. People were eating pizzas and kebabs all night. The smell was bad.
Oh wow! And I mean, Ryan, have you? Do you guys have kebabs in America?
I mean, we have them probably in certain places, but I don't know of any like restaurants that are close by to the theater that I go to where people could just bring in fresh kebabs.
Yeah, like the only place I can really get kebabs like that are like Greek places because I love Greek Mediterranean food. So probably that. Other places outside of that, it depends. Maybe some Indian places might have something kebab related, tandoori chicken possibly. But but yes. So yeah, it's possible, but it's not something that is usually, like you said, within distance of a lot of movie theaters.
Yeah.
No, not at all. But Ryan, they absolutely stink.
I can imagine. I mean, I've had to experience people bringing in Chinese food, so
no,
yeah, that's a bad thing to bring in. I mean, that's just I don't know why you would bring that in, but people do it.
Imagine bringing in kebab and pizza. Oh, I mean, to be fair, you guys have pizza in America at your cinemas. We don't have.
Yeah, I had pizza the other night at the movies. Yeah, they serve it, so I mean, why not?
It must just be. I'm guessing you guys must have like cheese, just a margarita, right?
So at the AMC I go to, they just do like flatbread pizzas, and it's just it's like they have like cheese or pepperoni. They may have like one other, like they may have like a sausage one or something like that. But it's just like real thin flatbread pizza, nothing like too crazy or like. I mean, you're not getting like a big box of extra large pizza to bring into the theater, even though that would be crazy.
I was going to say, they can't have something like that would create too much smell, I guess. Makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, kebabs though during Star Wars, man. No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for you, Sai.
Al says I was friends with a cinema manager, so he let us in free. Most that he did was 3, then hung out until he finished the shift. Pretty good.
That's cool.
Tennis Reaper's in here. Hey, Tennis. How you doing? He says, I did like an 8-hour day at the movie theater with my mom. It was a movie theater show, like 16 movies, and it was like $3 movie theater. Wow. That's a pretty good deal.
Well, let me just say this. Let me be very clear. If I, continue to pray for me and send me well wishes, but I'm telling you, if I can get to the point where this is a full, like, paid situation as far as, career aspirations and everything, as far as film criticism and whatever, and I can basically knock out that many films just to, get to the point where I can crank out reviews and all that kind of stuff, I'm here for it. I can do it. But to be honest, I technically did it at Sundance. It wasn't quite as hectic because I was able to split the in-person experience with some things that were online, but I still saw a lot in person, and it was exciting. But I was like, I could imagine it being very, very hectic if you don't know how to pace yourself and if you're not used to it. I was already kind of a theater goer and kind of used to going from one to the next in theory, but yeah, because I saw well over 15 films in all. So yeah,
that's a lot. Yeah,
I'm excited for your ranking video, D, when you get to that.
Yes, it is coming soon. At least you already know what'll likely be at the bottom out of all those.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think what I love about Sundance is that you get just so many. And because, well, let me just say this, because Sundance focuses on independent filmmaking and independent storytelling and all that, you get these very unique perspectives and these very unique stories, cultures, and all that. So even in the ranking, you'll be able to see that, like, I saw a little bit of everything, and it was such a unique perspective compared to, which I don't knock mainstream because I do appreciate mainstream, but sometimes the focus or the lens through which mainstream films, how that works, it's just like, it ain't the best. So I think Sundance and kind of those experiences are very, very refreshing.
It's something completely different as well. Mm-hmm. And I mean, some of those movies you probably experienced, they won't be out till like maybe later in the year, if at all. So
yeah, and it can be very awkward depending on the situation, which I feel like in theory, it just so happened there were extenuating circumstances that threw this off. But yes, I saw Magazine Dreams last January with Jonathan Majors, and I was excited to discuss it and talk about it. And then some not so great things happened involving the state of his career and news and controversy and all that. I'm like, now I don't know if this film will ever be released, and I don't know if I will ever be able to give my thoughts on. I mean, I can, but I'm like, it's going to be awkward to have a review about Magazine Dreams, and the film may never be released. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, be something unique to your channel, though, D.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. I'll then for my title, I'll put I saw Magazine Dreams. I might be the only one. Please check out my review.
That's a great title.
Yes.
I like it.
I'll be watching.
Yes, we will.
All right. Mike, is there anything else that you have, like, with theater etiquette that maybe, like, bugs you, or, like, stuff you've ran into, or stuff that you do before a movie or anything like that?
Yeah, man. So one thing that bugs me, and this might just be me, but I am an avid collector of actual paper tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I've had the cinema staff being like, oh, you can just scan the QR code on your phone. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. I need my paper ticket. I'll give them this backstory. I'm like, I've been collecting since 2005. You don't know how much this means. And during COVID, it was all QR codes. I'm like, damn you, paper tickets, damn you. But what's worse though is when I go to put, like, it's happened a couple of times, like at my local cinema. They've got like 4 paper ticket machines, and recently they've put 2 of them like out of order, but I think it's just to save electrical costs. But the one machine, they've got 2 machines on, but one of them that's closest to the door always usually cuts out when I put my reference in. I'll be like, your ticket's printed, and it doesn't because it's crashed. And there's been a few times that's happened. So now I'll go to the counter. I've been trying to get my paper ticket. It hasn't printed off. I give them the backstory spiel, and usually they end up handwriting a ticket out for me.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, but the thing is though, I like going into the screening ready with my ticket in hand and my membership card, because you have to show your membership card, and I've got that ready to show them to like go straight in. But then sometimes like people haven't got the membership cards out, haven't got the ticket cards ticket out at all. They've got like 2 handfuls of snacks, and I'm like, you're holding up the line. Just hurry up.
I know, like they're not prepared or anything like that. Yeah, and then like I would say, like going into that, like what you were saying, like yeah, the same thing here. Like they don't really do paper tickets really as much anymore. Like I have the AMC list now, the A list, and you just show them the QR code. There's no printing tickets or anything, but they check an ID and everything to make sure it's you. But yeah, it's been a while since I've really had to do paper tickets. Yeah.
Man.
It's just, I mean, I used to collect them like you did too, but I think like they got lost in the shuffle or something, and I lost them forever. So it's a shame because I had a lot of them too.
And I mean, I know Cinematic. I don't know if he's watching. Maybe not. You might catch it up. I know he's a paper ticket guy as well.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I'm just I would hate that QR code only. I would hate that.
I was gonna say, do they over there? They don't do the box office stuff anymore either. You just go to the machine or you go to the counter. You don't have a box office where.
So I always we used to have box offices, but they got rid of them.
Okay.
The only way you get the tickets now, if you want to purchase them or collect them, except the machines, is going to the counter where they sell the popcorn and stuff.
I got you.
They do like a 2-in-1 kind of thing. I do miss the old box office though.
Yeah, I mean, at the few theaters I go to, they still have the box office, but they just don't use it. It's just there.
Yeah.
You know? But the AMC that I go to, they do both. They do they have a couple options. They have obviously you can go to the machine, get your ticket printed. Obviously you can do through the app, and then they also have one person doing tickets at the box office. So I like that they have those options because, like you said, like some people like the paper tickets, they want to keep them, they want to collect them. So I mean, I like that they at least should have at least one person, I think, at the box office at least. You know, I mean, it doesn't kill them to pay them just to do tickets. So I mean, that's my feeling.
I agree.
But see, that's just like with and I don't know if it's like that over in the UK, but it's just like how I grew up. McDonald's, Burger King, a lot of these fast food drive-through places had the first window where you pay, and then the second window where you get your food. And now a lot of these places don't even use. You just do everything at the second window.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that a little bit, D. But like here, yeah, our drive-through here is you go to the first window, you pay. The second window, you go get your food.
Mm-hmm.
Or they might have like one of those machines you drive up to. Mm-hmm. You shout into the speaker what you want, and you go to the next window and you get your stuff.
Yeah,
it's different. Yeah, the McDonald's here, you go to the machine, you shout at the machine what you want. You go to the first window, you go pay. Then you go to the second window to go get your stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, why is it not like a slot you just put your card on or the cash in? I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I think it varies here because usually if you're going through the drive-through, you order through the drive-through, and then sometimes the first window will be open and you pay and then you get your food. And then other times the first window is not open at all and you just go to the second window and you pay and get your food at that second window. So it varies depending on the place.
I get you. D, are you a paper guy or are you a QR code kind of guy?
I mean, I am well, let me just say this. Definitely, I need if I can find where they all are, but I probably don't have nearly as many as ticket stubs as you do, Mike, but every once in a while I'll find one somewhere. It'll just suddenly pop up. Sometimes it's in a DVD case, sometimes it's in a pants pocket, sometimes it's in an old bin, but I have a bunch of them. And I know I had at least 10. That's how I knew. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised anyway, but that's how I knew exactly that I had gone to see Cloud Atlas 10 different times, because each time I took somebody with me. And then when I looked, I was like, oh, I went at least 10 or 11 times. So Yeah, so it's nice to keep track. It's a little easier with the apps and everything now. You can kind of track that way. So I am, in a way, I am kind of a stickler for, old school traditional things. But if it just so happens I can scan my QR code, that's fine too. But it does get annoying when there's an issue with your screen and brightness, or when the scanner that the person has doesn't want to work. So it's like, now what do you do?
I get you. Cloud Atlas 10 times. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took. I don't know if we. I don't think we talked about it, but yeah, each time I took someone else, because the first time I saw it, I think I saw it by myself. I think so. And then each time I brought someone to see with me. I saw it one time with my mom. I saw it one time with this group, these friends, this person, these 3 people, these 2 people, like every single time, because I was like, man, I want people to experience this. And then each time I went, also, I noticed more and I understood more. Initially, it was kind of like having the experience again, just so someone else could share it. And then over time, I was like, no, like, now I figured certain things out, and then afterwards the conversations we would have about it were just like awesome. Yeah, it's just like everyone like had a different perspective of it, and just So that was one. Now I don't know if I would have the energy to do that now because I'm much older and how I am when it comes to time and gas and all that. But for that time, I think it was perfect.
That's an awesome experience, D. I haven't seen the movie though. I'm sorry.
I haven't either.
So, like, what does this say?
I'm not... Perfect quote, D. Perfect quote.
Yes.
It is on my list, though. It is on my list, D. I will watch it. And you'll be the first person I message.
Yes, the infinite, ever-growing list. Yes.
Yeah, you could even add to the back of that. You could have, did you see that? And you could have on the back, it's on my list.
There we go. There we go.
It is.
I will say one other thing, a discovery I made, and I feel like this is like one of those things where there are 2 turning lanes and everyone will move into one lane, and then there's nobody or like one car in the other lane. But I noticed there were times when I would go, and I kind of figured out very quickly, because I'm a big, what's the word? I'm big on efficiency and convenience. So if I see that there is a workaround for something, I will make use of it. So I would just remember coming up one day, you get used to going to the box office, tickets, buying that way. I remember, I couldn't tell you what film it was, but it was a big film. It was almost like a Marvel film, that kind of situation. And, I walked up, I'm pretty sure I had driven up, and then I walked up and I just saw like, oh, this super long line. I was like, okay, I guess it's going to be a minute. And for whatever reason, for the first time, I don't think I'd ever really noticed, but I was like, man, this is a long line. And so I just so happened to look through the door, and I remember that they had like these machines there. But I guess in my mind, I was like, I thought those are ATMs. And then I looked, I was just like, let me just see. Because I was like, I'm gonna lose my place in line, but let me just go for it. I walked up, it's a ticketing machine. And so I'm like, what's the catch? So I pull up the time and everything, and I input everything and swipe my card, do all that. The ticket comes out. Then I walk, and then I genuinely go out and look and see everyone in this massive line. I'm like, oh, okay. So I give the person the ticket, and then I walk inside. I was like, so no one is okay, fine.
Yeah, I think there's probably a time period where people probably. Well, how long do you think ago that was? Do you think it was a while ago, or?
This was like years ago. This was like probably around the time I might have seen like, and probably was even before that, but like around the time I would have seen Mad Max or something like that.
Okay.
And then I just so happened to, because I always saw that, but like I said, I always thought it was an ATM. And just the fact that, and I guess it was where it was positioned was kind of odd, because it was like the box office is here, the door is to get in is right there, and then right where the person takes the tickets, it's right to this side. So I get that if you're standing on the outside, you probably wouldn't be thinking about going inside if you don't have a ticket. But once I realized that, unless it was just, because most of the time I would do matinees, like I said, and so it would only be but a couple of people outside. But outside of that, if I knew it was going to be like a situation, I would just slide on in. And do you think there were ever anyone at those ticket machines? No. So I was like, okay, this works for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for a while that took me a little bit to get used to, like the machines and all that, because like you're just so used to going to the box office. But they're still like now, because there's no box office, everybody seems to want to go to the counter to go buy their tickets rather than use the automatic machines. I see people do that a lot now. I don't know, maybe I don't know what's so scary about the machines, but I mean they print your tickets, you just hit a few buttons. I know for some people it's pretty difficult to hit a couple buttons, I guess, and pick your movie.
So I've seen this loads of times. Like I'll go into the cinema, and I always go to the machines to collect my ticket. It's very, very rare I'll go to the counter and get my ticket. Just because I like to just get my ticket, go into my screen, go see the movie. I don't want to talk to anyone if I can help it. And honestly, the amount of times I'll go to the machine and someone stood there and they don't know how to buy a ticket.
Ah, man.
I'm like, you click the picture for your movie, you click the time, you click how many tickets, and then you pay with your card. What's so difficult? They get to the paying stage and then they stop there and then they just leave the screen on, and then they go to the counter. I'm like, you could have at least pressed cancel on your transaction before leaving.
Yeah. It seems like when there's that many options and buttons and everything, it sends people in a frenzy or something like that. I have a question for you both is, how do you feel about reserve seating versus just showing up and picking your seat? Like when they changed that, did you like that change, or did you feel like now it's just kind of like, I mean, I guess there's pros and cons to both of it, but personally for me, I rather just show up and pick my seat rather than picking it in advance. Just because I guess I'm there early enough. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
I think it depends on the show. Like, so one thing I hate, like with that, Ryan, though, is when you get there and someone's sat in your seat. I'm just like, can't you read your ticket? It tells you you're in this aisle in this seat.
Right.
But I like to personally be prepared when I go. I'm like, right, I've got this booked, this time, this seat. Because some showings as everyone, you might get there for the trailers, or like all of us, we might get there for the trailers, like starting all the commercials, but then like it's already packed, and so then if you try to choose your seat, you might be left at the front.
That's true.
So I like to be prepared. What about you, D?
Yeah, I was gonna say, since I had a good since I had a good strategy for getting there early enough, I do think in theory it's nice to be able to just kind of go and at your leisure, and then just kind of select a ticket and do it that way. But unfortunately, once I realized, especially considering the rise of the MCU and the kind of turnouts there would be for some of these films, I realized that if I didn't go ahead and number one, or order a ticket ahead of time, or just have something in place, there would often be some chaos. And even when I would plan for it to be all settled, there was still, I might run into some issues. So I will say it takes a little bit of the edge off as far as just kind of knowing. And if I'm technically running late, which is not really possible, but let's just say, traffic just so happens to back up, or something crazy happens and they redirect traffic to where it's suddenly like a 15-minute delay. It's nice to be able to not think like, oh no, I'm gonna really miss something. Just waltz in and just sit down. So I do think there's a benefit to it. But it was nice, before, when it was just kind of the ease of it. And I will say, with the reserve, you have to even kind of be on your P's and Q's with that, because since a lot of these folks have these same apps now, you have to make sure stuff doesn't get reserved and snapped up so quick that you can't actually get a seat for yourself, because there is that also.
Right.
I think that's a good point. Yeah, D. I remember when I was a teenager, remember like the first Johnny English came out? We didn't have those reserved seating, so like we were like third row from the front.
Mm-hmm.
So reserved seating, I was like, it's a blessing in disguise. For me, it is anyway.
Yeah. So here's another question for you guys. So when you guys reserve your seat, do you like have a particular like a particular row or like a particular area where you seat? I feel like for me, I'll sit not necessarily in the back, but kind of maybe like 3 or 4 rows before the back. But I always sit on the end because I particularly don't like people to sit next to me.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I don't like people to sit next to me at all.
On the end?
I will literally sit like when I go to pick my seat, I literally will pick either one or like if it's like 20 seats in a row or whatever, I'll pick 20 because I don't want anybody to sit next to me. I don't care about sitting in the middle. I honestly don't.
But like when you're watching the movie though, you're not constantly like that all the time. Like
no, because like,
angle?
I'm still straight like to the movie and everything. I mean, I may be on the left or the right, but I'm not like looking like this or anything like that.
How does that work?
It works.
D, I mean, I don't know if this is like a US thing, but I mean, like, if you're over in the UK, I'm like dead center in the middle, like back row, like nearly every time. But like, if we to do that, Ryan, like you're talking about, you'd be like right on the corner, you'd be like that the entire movie, like your neck would be like strained like that all the time.
No, it's not strained at all. I'm sitting here straight. I'm just on the end like this. I'm looking forward. I mean, I don't have any strain or anything.
Next time in the cinema, Ryan, I'm purposely going to go really early. I'm going to sit on the end and I'm going to show you what I mean.
I mean, you can, but I don't have any problems.
Take a picture, Mike. Please take a picture.
I will. Yeah, this is weird. What?
Yeah, it's just the thing. I don't like anybody sitting next to me unless it's like somebody I went with or something. I don't want somebody random sitting next to me. I just don't.
And he's deep. Probably sitting front row on the end as well.
I think I'm like that, Mike, because I have like with my theater near me and the other Regal theater that I went to, not a lot of people go. So I'm used to not a lot of people in the theater like ever. So now that I go to this AMC, there's a lot more people. So I just don't really want to sit next to someone random. Like you don't know if they're going to talk or like be on their phone or you just don't really know. So like I just pick the end. Because I know nobody's going to want to, because when you do that, when you pick the end like that, nobody's going to go, I'm not going to sit next to some random person on the end. So I have that free seat next to me. That may be an asshole move, but like, I know nobody will pick the seat next to me.
I can imagine, Ryan, you're going to start going, you're going to sit on the end, and someone's purposely going to go sit next to you.
Next time, I'm going to take a picture of where I sit on the end to show you my angle because it's not that bad, I'm telling you.
I'm intrigued. Call me intrigued. What about you, D? Are you the normal one out of two of us or what?
Possibly. Yes, I'm center. I might do like a flight and
he has frozen.
Because sometimes being straight on. Oh.
I think he's back.
Yeah.
We can see
it. You were saying you sit in the center and then it just went completely AWOL.
Okay, but you can.
Yep, we can see you.
You can see you here now, yeah.
Okay. Okay. But yes, I sit center and I do higher center because sometimes, depending on what the center is and where the screen sits, you're kind of looking. Not that you're looking. How do I say it? It's like where you are in the center. Sometimes it can be like the screen is slightly above you, so you're looking straight, but still the screen is kind of like here. So you're kind of under the screen, and where you're getting the picture is just a little shifted. So I prefer to be slightly up, so either that I'm dead on center or I'm a little higher up, so I can look slightly down. But yeah, so that's my preference. Now I will say this: where it gets annoying in the center is when I need to get popcorn. Lord forbid I should have to go to the restroom. And oh my gosh, when I tell you I cannot stand going around people and people having to shift their legs and move and all that, because it just, the whole thing just feels awkward. I mean, I don't really care because I gotta go. So like it is what it is. Somebody gonna have to move. But yeah, it still can just be awkward just having to get around people and we've all settled in and then have to go and then come back and do that same process again. That part I don't really care for. And like I said, that's only if, and usually that's only if I'm going with my mom and then, you know, we both are popcorn gobblers. So if by after a certain point, if the movie's long enough or if we've eaten enough popcorn, then we're probably going to want some more. And we're probably gonna have to go get some. So that's the one detriment to being in the middle. And those are some times where I'm just like, it would be nice to be closer to deal with that piece, because I know if I'm on the end, then it's just in and out. But yeah.
Well, I'm getting criticized for my sitting on the end of the row. Well, I have something else that may be strange too. That
yes,
you'll probably be like, "Really? What? You don't like that?" But I have a thing with my popcorn. I do not like butter on my popcorn at all.
D's holding his tongue.
So it's funny when I go with my mom to the movie. She was like, "You want some popcorn?" I said, "Nope, because you're gonna put butter on it."
Oh, man, we don't have that option here. We just get it served from in the dunk, and that's it.
Oh, so you don't have the option to self-serve yourself? You have to ask them for it?
Oh yeah, our popcorn's like drywall, dude. It's
I see it. See, ours, at least the one I get, it's usually already salted and stuff, and it already technically is flavored enough to where I don't need the extra flavor on it. I don't know. That's just how I am. It's weird, I guess, but it's just a preference that I've had. I guess later in life.
Yeah, like our popcorn is like so it's like as you go up to the counter to go get your snacks, it's in behind the glass, but it's separated, of course, for like the sweet and the salted.
Oh, okay.
So they have like the scoop, obviously poured into the popcorn bucket, but they don't have like the butter on the end to dip it in extra. They don't have anything like that. No.
Interesting.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
He's not happy with that.
No, it's
I guess
fine.
we're never sharing popcorn.
Well, but no, I will say this. It's kind of been more of a toss-up because it kind of depends on how good the popcorn is. Because I will say, Ryan, there is something to your point. If it's like really, really good and it's like fresh out and everything, and if it's not, yeah, like there are times where like the popcorn is so good, I don't really need butter. And it can be fine and it really can be fine as is, as is. And there are times, and I don't know if this has to do with it being heated or not, how long the popcorn, I regretted it because it almost tastes more like oil or grease, just being clumped on top of the popcorn. I'm just kind of like, no, I would have been fine without this. Like if it's a little stale, then it's a little stale, but sometimes it just adds to what, I don't know, it just adds this off, I don't even know how you say it, but it just adds to it not being a pleasant experience depending on the combination of the butter and the popcorn. Most of the time I'm fine with it and I don't do a whole lot. Because I remember when I used to work at the movie theater, this was like back in like 2005, 2006. I remember there would be people who would ask for layered butter. So they would have us put popcorn in halfway, add butter to it, and then add popcorn and then add butter on top of that. So they got the butter on the top and then they still had butter in the middle all the way down. So
yeah, they'd always would say that for like when I was in the concessions. I want it layered. I want it popcorn, butter, popcorn, and some of them, they're really descriptive. Like they want you to put in a little bit of popcorn. I'm telling you, like 4 layers of like butter and like, oh man, they get into it. Some of them.
Wow.
Yeah, some people are very much in preference of how they really like that popcorn. I think it's a little crazy, but yeah. I mean, I get like you have popcorn, then you have a layer of butter, then another popcorn, but like 4 layers or something like that, man, it's going a little bit to the extreme, I think.
Yeah. It's enough for me.
Oh man, no, we don't have anything like that at all. But getting back to something that you were saying, D, when you were saying about when you sat down comfortable and people like shifting past you to get to the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I never understand. Before the movie starts, I always go to the toilet.
Same.
And like, say if it's going to be a 3-hour movie, I'll check my watch about an hour in. I'll be like, oh, it's an hour. Okay, I can have a drink now. Otherwise, I'll need the toilet if I like drink straight away. But some people, as soon as the movie started, 5 minutes in, they'll get up and go to the toilet.
Yeah.
I'm like, how weak is your bladder? Like, what's going on? And I hate that, especially when it's dark and people shifting past you. Yeah.
Yeah. Then it becomes Grand Central Station.
Exactly. Yeah, like that's not. I'm trying to. Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like, Lord forbid, because it's not something that's really going to happen most of the time. And if I'm, it would have to be like an emergency, or I would have to be. And I usually don't. I can actually eat a good amount of popcorn with that. Most of the time, honestly, I don't really need a drink. I can really just kind of eat popcorn and be good. Now, if I haven't hydrated before that, it's probably going to be an issue, and it's going to not be great. But technically speaking, most of the time, I don't really have to have a drink. I'd be fine with one, but I don't necessarily have to have one.
Wow. That was a big bang. Scared the hell out of me. I think we lost. He's a robot.
Everything okay?
We got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was like the door like shut because of like the wind or something. Scared the crap out of me. Let me jump in. More than imaginary.
But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So usually that's not that's usually not an issue. What else? Was I gonna say something else? And then I'm already I won't even say a snob. I prefer to not be anywhere near a public restroom if I don't have to be. And my body is at least me and my body are in sync enough to where my body will restrain any liquid issues or any bladder issues, and usually until I get home. Which is like I said, it's to my benefit because I've been places and I just wanted to curl up and die afterwards. So yeah.
It can be bad sometimes, the public restrooms. I get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, and I know we talk about, not being judgmental, and I'm not really a judgmental person, but the public restroom always brings me back to how I was raised regarding bathroom and restroom etiquette. And it always reminds me that everyone has not had that same experience. And I'm sorry, you're always going to get the side eye from me when it comes to that, because I feel like kindergarten, daycare, preschool, we were all told how the whole bathroom potty flushing situation works. And I'm just like, gross.
Well, see, now, I would say most bathrooms now, you don't, at least here, you don't have, most of the time you don't have to even hand flush them. They have the automatic flushers.
Exactly. So I just,
I don't know if that's over in the UK, but.
Yeah, so sometimes we have the automatic flushers, but I mean, I always make sure my hands are like thoroughly washed before I leave the bathroom.
Yeah.
But like sometimes if I've washed my hands and I see someone like go in the toilet and just walk out and not do it, I'll like hang fire, like washing my hands a little bit, wait till someone opens the door, then I'll run out so I don't have to touch it.
That's gross.
I will say this. Yeah, I will say this. The one thing I couldn't stand about the university, or basically the one theater, not the Dollar Theater, but the other theater that was closer to like the main city or whatever, they had it to where you would wash your hands and they would have only a dryer but nothing else, like no paper towels or anything. And here's the thing, like I'm very, because basically because of my grandmother and technically my mother, but really my grandmother was big on the things I put my hands on and grab. So at the grocery store, I don't grab the first thing that's there because most people touch stuff and put it back. So get the second or third thing that's there. She's like, don't like, she was very adamant about that. And of course, when you're young, it's just like, who cares? What's the big deal? And then I got older and certain things made I think the most important development as far as that was the biology class I had in my university. And we had to test these different surfaces and use these cotton swabs for just different surfaces in the building. And so I remember doing the rim of a trash can. I did like one of those things where you push the door open. I did one of those. I did I think a toilet seat, and then I did, I don't know, possibly, I don't think it was the floor, but it was something else where it was just like or maybe like a bathroom sink, something like that. And so we had to swab the petri dish afterwards and see what the reactions would be. And so for most of those, like I said, trash can, trash can, toilet seat, like bathrooms, not bathroom sink, something else, maybe the floor, I don't know, but something else to where you would think like, oh, okay, this is going to get a lot of, most of them, you got a little bit of pattern or whatever that popped up. But when I tell you the one where people hands and pushed the door open, it grew hair. That was the formation of the bacteria. Like it looked like literal hair sprouting. And when I tell you, like the way my stomach lurched when I saw that, and from that day on, I was just like, oh, I was like, where's my grandmother? If only she could see this. Like all these years of you explaining this to me, and now here it is, like in my face. And I was just like, oh, from that day on, I was like, oh no, never again, never ever again. So literally, if you see me, I'll have something. I even have, oh, it's not here, but even of course the Ponderosa, as I call it, in 2020, that didn't help either. But I have a little keychain thing. And it basically hooks doors, or you can usually like turn or twist doors, but I can't, or I'll grab a paper towel, napkin, something, but I refuse. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. I get you, D. I get you. Yeah, no. No. Mm-hmm. That's awful. Oh, what filthy beasts.
Yeah. Well, the way of the world, unfortunately.
Oh, hey, Ryan. Hope you're well.
What's going on, Ryan? I hate when people ruin a movie. However, is there a movie you've seen where it actually entertained you because the movie was so bad?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but...
Boo! No, think of something. Okay, well, wait. Mike,
I've got a good experience.
I was going to say, do you have one in the meantime?
Oh, yeah. I've got a great experience where what happened in the cinema was more entertaining than the actual movie. So take it back to 2022, and it was for the movie Amsterdam.
Oh, gosh.
Now, we all know how bad that movie is. And I think you guys may have heard the story, but I'm going to share the story. So it was kind of a bit like you, D. You know, I like a matinee show, and I like going early when the kids are at school. Like, it's quiet. I know I'm going to get a peaceful showing. So I think this was actually maybe about a 4 o'clock show, and so it wasn't too early or anything like that. And there wasn't many people. I would say maybe about 8 to 10 people maximum in a fairly sized screening. And I was in the back row, of course, in the centre. And the row below me was like this girl who must have been, I don't know, maybe between 16 and 20, I'm guessing. And maybe her dad. I'm guessing it was her dad, maybe in his 40s, 50s. That's what it kind of looked like. Anyway, got about 2/3 through the movie, and I was trying to keep an open mind with it, but by that point, I was a bit checked out of this movie. And anyway, I noticed this girl, so she was like sat here, and the dad was sat like there, right? So like next to her, so she was on the left, he was more centered like me, and she kept going over like this, like to her dad. And obviously, I was getting distracted because she kept like looking at him, right? Like looking at him this way. I was like, huh? What's going on? So then she was going like this. Then she's like trying to shake him like this. He wasn't moving. So then I noticed it's like, you know, like, is this guy okay? So she turned around to me and was like, she's like, oh, help! Like, can you go get help? I was like, I was freaked out. I was like, I've never experienced this. So I was like, So I ran out of the screening. I ran down the stairs. I went to get one of the cinema workers. I was like, we need help up in the cinema. I was like, this guy's not moving. I was, and I was like in shock. The cinema worker was like stood there looking gormless at this point. They didn't know what to do, and I went back up, and it turned out this guy was just in a deep sleep. And he was actually all right, but Amsterdam put him that much into a sleep at that point. So the cinema worker came up and was like, is everything all right? And she's like, oh yeah, he was just asleep this whole time.
Oh man.
But that was like so bad because the movie's bad. That experience was fantastic.
That's funny.
He was out for the count.
Yes, every time I think about Amsterdam, I think about that meme. I'm gonna find it one of these days. It's hard, like I don't know why I can't find it. Oh, you see that comment about him?
Uh-oh.
Someone died in your cinema, Mike. Damn, I hope it was after the
Ooh.
No, Ryan, they were alive. I think, unfortunately, they experienced Amsterdam.
Yeah, I remember a meme somebody made where it was just like, hey, you know what? I've had, I guess where they've had some kind of long-standing feud, and it's just like, you know what? We've gone back and forth, but I'm tired of this. It's time that we settle this once and for all. So are you challenging me to a fight? Yeah, I'm challenging you to a fight. Okay, well, where do you want to fight? Yeah, we should fight somewhere where no one will be around, we'll be by ourselves, and we can get to business. They show them fighting in the middle of an Amsterdam screening.
Wow.
Like, nobody's here. Where we go? Awesome.
Wow.
Oh, D, send me that if you come across it. That's great.
I gotta find it, but that was hilarious. I was like, "Ooh, yikes!"
But no, Ryan, he wasn't dead. But he was like this the entire time. He was out. He was not moving at all.
Yeah, I've definitely had my share of people falling asleep. Like I've shared before. Obviously, when I watched, what was the movie I saw last year? I'm trying to think what it was. Oh man. Oh, Chevalier. I went to go see that, and the guy was snoring the whole time. I know I've shared that story before. I mean, the entire movie, he was snoring really loud. I mean, I was in a tiny theater, so I had a Rashad basically snoring the entire movie. And then I do remember one time at a theater, you open up the pan of worms for this one. But so I was doing my rounds and I was, ushering, cleaning theaters or whatever. And I walk into the theater and I see someone laid across like 5 or 6 seats, like their whole body, like they're all laid down, like they're laying on a bed, like they were out. They had a bunch of bags and shit everywhere. And I said to my manager, the guy's name was Larry. I said, Larry, we got somebody just asleep. I don't know if he's alive or what's going on. And he goes in, he shines his flashlight. He shined the flashlight at the woman or whatever. And he's like, ma'am. And then like her legs were like dangling off the seats or whatever. And he takes his boot and he kind of kicks her feet a little bit. She's not moving. Then we got to shake her a little bit. And then finally she gets up and she goes, oh man, I missed the whole movie. She was like, so I'll never forget that. That was pretty funny. I think she was watching like The Nun or like Annabelle or something. I forget what it was.
I don't blame her for going to sleep then, Ryan.
But it just made me laugh. I never forget it.
Man.
Oh, this is a question for me. What was that movie, Ryan, that the staff had to wake me? That was Madagascar 3 that happened to me. I don't know if you heard this story, D, but several years ago, I went to go see Madagascar 3, and I fell asleep so bad, and I was snoring in the theater and everything, that the whole staff had to wake me up and shake me. I must have had a really bad day at work or something. I was just tired. So I remember that he remembered that, but anyway, I'll let you get what you were saying. I know you were about to comment on something.
I was gonna say Ryan. I was gonna say Ryan Swells. I know Ryan and Mike are technically breaking the rules by not directly answering your question. So I am going to say that. So I'm going to say that I was thoroughly entertained by Venom because I knew it was going to be a train wreck. It looked like it was going to be a mess. I knew it was going to be nothing close to capturing just the absolute brilliance of that character in any way, shape, or form. But I watched it and I was like, man, this is a train wreck, but I'm entertained. Like I never thought I would see a scene where there's an argument about symbiote or symbiote. Either way, there was an argument about the life form. Let's just say that there was a scene where he basically is daring Eddie to take a flying leap off of a skyscraper. And the next we see is Eddie taking the elevator. And then the life form says, oh, P-U-S-S-Y. And I was like, man, that's pretty funny. I know it was corny and dumb and goofy, but I was just like, I think I'm enjoying this. This is a train wreck, but I'm kind of here for it. Now, I can't say the same thing about Carnage because I wanted to like throw something at the screen. It was another one of those situations where I felt like I was being held hostage. This film was 90 minutes and it felt like 2.5 hours. And I was so I had to go, I don't know, find some peace afterwards. But the first Venom, yes, it was a good time. It was actually a good time. As dumb as it was.
And at the end of Let There Be Carnage, they had to go in his car, roll the windows up, and just scream for 10 minutes to decompress.
And just scream. Yeah. It was just like, why? And I felt so bad because it was just like, we have, I almost said Tom. Did I say Tom? I'm sorry. If I said Tom Holland before, that's not what I meant to say. But we have these 3 really solid actors in this film. And I'm just like, I understand getting your check. Paying bills, and I get that that's how it goes, but my goodness, like surely we have to be picky at some point in our careers. And I was like, ooh, it was Naomi Harris, Tom Hardy, and Woody Harrelson. I was just like, ooh, well, at least you can say you got paid well. I hope that's what because no.
Yeah, the thing is, I with Ryan's question, I remember an experience, but I don't remember the movie. But I do remember 2 people getting into a physical fight during the movie, and that was more entertaining than the movie. But I wish I could remember what movie it was. I don't know if you guys have had that experience ever, but I just remember like these 2 people going at it for like I think somebody had their phone on and somebody went after them and they got in a fight or something like that. I remember like the movie got interrupted and everything, and I think they had to like cancel the showing or something, and I think like I got like a free ticket or something to go another day, but I just don't remember what movie it was. But I remember it was more entertaining than the movie. I wish I could answer the question fully, Ryan, but I kind of answered the question. Sort of.
Yeah, it's been more experiences, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, when I go for the cinema ticket collection, there'll be loads, and I'll be like, there you go, Ryan, there's your answers. But yeah, when I was asking you guys about The Police earlier, I can't remember what the film was. Again, if I look through the tickets, I'll find it. But I remember there was like this early showing of a movie, like a card holder early showing. And there was this guy sat at the back. Now, in the UK, we have like people called chavs or chavs, you'd like to say, where they'll wear like a full-on tracksuit and their tracksuit bottoms are tucked into like their socks. That's what the definition of that is. And there was this guy at the back of this early showing, and like the cinema staff, like halfway through the movie, the cinema staff might come in and just check what's going on, or if like someone's got the phone out and that kind of stuff, or like for legal recording. Well, this guy, like the cinema staff kept like looking at this guy, and I noticed throughout the movie they kept going up to see this guy, like he's off like up to the left of me. I was like, what the hell's going on? Yeah, it turned out when I left the cinema, the police were waiting outside the screening because throughout the movie, he was like illegally recording the movie in the cinema screen.
Oh man, you brought up a really good point. Something that just reminded me of something about that same situation. So I'll go ahead and share this story. But when I was 14, my girlfriend at the time, we went to go on a date. We went to go see, I think it was like Date Movie or something like that. And she actually recorded the movie, and she got in trouble for doing that as well. And they made her delete it off the phone, and we got kicked out of the movie. So you were sharing that story, and I've had that same kind of experience before. I mean, I would never do something like that. It's so stupid. But, you know, at 14, I just remember when she did that, I was like, are you freaking stupid? Like, you know, they're going to catch you doing that.
And Date Movie of all movies as well.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know why you'd be recording that, but I just remember that. I was like way like forever ago. But I don't really see anybody do that now. Like I don't think I've ever seen anybody try to not recently or anything. I mean, I don't most of the time when I go to the movies, and I don't know if this is how you guys, but most of the time I don't usually have like too much like a bad of experience most of the time. I feel like it's very sporadic, you know? I mean, like you'll have like the basic stuff, like people show up late or you know, they're not in their seat or something like that. But I feel like most of the time I'm pretty blessed enough that I don't have to deal with too much chaos. I don't know if that's how it is for you guys.
Usually.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually have had for like if we look at like even now, yeah, I would say like for the most part, I feel like I've been very, very fortunate in my experience. So when people say like I don't go to the movies because people just do what they want and blah blah blah, and honestly, I think sometimes it depends on the theater. I think it depends on the area. I think it depends on the time, and you know, I feel like there are a lot of variables. And I think sometimes, especially when people decide to go like late at night, it's always going to be more drama and, you know, the potential for more chaos. So I feel like because I go to a certain theater that's a drama-free theater, I go early in the day, or I'll go, you know, even sometimes if I go like on a Thursday night, it's usually no drama, no issues. So yeah, I just think because of the areas that I kind of stick to and the theaters that I usually don't have any drama with Mike being the movie menace and trying to massacre old classic films because he didn't grow up watching them. That tends to be a greater issue for me because it's like, Mike, why are you troubling these people? Why are you trying to destroy these people and their memories? It's just like I have a bigger issue with that. The same way I have an issue with Mike like trying to justify his love for Saltburn. It's just like I can deal with people acting up in the theater. But this being a close friend of mine and just really waging war upon, you know, the world, it's just like, I don't know. It's just a lot of chaos that Mike and I get it. Mike puts on a good face, but there's a lot of chaos going on. There's a lot going on in that brain of his. So that's my bigger issue personally.
And Mike, the movie menace, is here to stay, D.
Always.
He ain't going anywhere. He's here to butcher more classics.
Yep, of course.
Oh man, I should have put my name down here, Mike, the movie menace.
There you go.
How you doing, Andrew? Thanks for joining me.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey.
He's come back to check out the movie menace.
He was saying makes sense, very boring either way, the Nun or Annabelle.
It's very true.
And Ryan says, "Let There Be Carnage made me want my money back with a written apology from the director."
Listen, I was not pleased at all. I
relate. That's funny.
I can imagine Andy Serkis being, "Dear Ryan Swales, we are sorry
I'm
for
so
your
sorry." That's funny.
Written apology.
I have a question. When it comes to this whole YouTube journey of yours, is there a particular, and I feel like I've asked this before, but is there a particular review you're really or a review?
Sorry, do you cut out a bit? You said, is there a particular review? I think I heard.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I
sorry.
heard.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Is there a particular review, or if not a review, some video you've done that's not just a review that you're really, really proud of? And if so, what is it?
Ooh,
It's a
okay.
good question.
Okay. So there's a few. There's a few for me, D, where it depends how I've maybe spoken in that review and the amount of research I've done. Because I always like to try bring some trivia or some cool facts if I can into it.
Absolutely.
One of the better ones for that, in terms of that standpoint, was probably Bright Lights Big City collaboration I did. So in terms of like bringing more of the educational about Michael J. Fox's experience with that movie, I think that was great. In terms of like bad movie reviews, though, I think probably Titanic 2 back in the day. Just because that's how that movie was terrible, and I was like, I really need to. I think it's the first time I did like a movie breakdown of like how the scenes go, which I've never done before. So I always look back and I always think that was a fun review. I always remember like the preparation I did for that one as well.
Oh, okay, let me say this really quickly. I'm gonna have to put you on a timeline, Mike, because I would like to mention that you made sure that I would have to subject myself to Titanic, The Legend Continues, and you still have not seen it. And I don't think it's fair that I should have to have been subjected to that on my free time after work when I'm supposed to be at peace time, and you get to time to finish the video, but it's time to pay up, like, and pay the piper on that one, because it's not. So I don't know what is up on your schedule, but I'm gonna need you to move that up because it's not fair. And as soon as you said Titanic, the PTSD was triggered in my brain, and I realized that I was forced to watch that film against my will. So there's that.
It's gonna happen, D. So I did like Spaghetti Man watch along, like bad movie watch along. And I know I said to you I want to do a Titanic watch along with you. So I'm going to try to do that next, and I'll get a few other people to join with us. That guy's going to join us. And he's going to see Titanic, The Adventure Continues with a rapping dog on the Titanic.
Oh, boy. I can't wait.
So yes, Steve, that will be the next. I was going to do Pan Man next, but I think Titanic: The Legend Continues will be next. I will push it up just for you.
It's long.
I will.
Much
and if you want, we'll subject some people. I'll even try bring Sin and Lisa on for it as well. Why not?
Please do it, please.
And Ryan as well. Ryan can join it. And maybe Jason, the old millennial, will get. Or maybe even Rashad as well. We'll get as many as we can, D. Because the StreamYard I've got allows 9 guests. So I'll see if I can fill up all 9 spots.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
It's gonna be a chaotic.
There you go, D. I'm doing you a solid. Not just me and you watching it. I'm subjecting 8 other people as well.
As it should be.
Can't wait.
All right, Ryan, what's your choice?
I feel like I'm gonna cop out. Because I think for me, like, when I look back, like 4 years ago when I started on YouTube and like gaining like kind of like my style and like what I want to do, like I feel like as time has gone on, like with my reviews, I'm more proud of the fact that, you know, I've been able to add like comedy into my reviews and kind of edit better as well. Like one of the things I think that I've learned is to try to edit out the fluff and kind of just like keep the main points in there and keep like a review like flowing more. So just that aspect as well. And then I think also too, like I think I'm proud of like a review like when you do a review and you can share like a side of yourself like in your outside life, like a movie like Past Lives, like I'm proud of that review because I shared my perspective on like stuff in my life and why that movie like means something to me, like as far as like that whole path with that relationship. I'm always proud when I can kind of put that into the review because it makes it more like a genuine thing where people can go, oh, okay, like, you know, he's experienced this and this is why he feels this way. So I feel like I'm more proud when I can kind of emphasis that kind of thing into it. So like that's kind of how I feel about mine. Like it's not about like the most views or anything like that. I mean, of course I mean, some videos that have gotten most views on, I'm like, this video was like crap. Like I'm surprised people are clicking on this and like watching it. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure you guys get that. Like you go back on like your old stuff and you're like, this really wasn't that good. You know what I mean? Like you look back on yourself and you see like how you've improved and you know what you can do in your editing style or what you can kind of add to the review, like information or whatever the case may be. And I do think sometimes with each movie it can be a little bit different how you approach a movie because a lot of factors can really involved in that, like, you know, how you are going into it. Like I try to go into a movie like not watching any reviews. I mean, trailers it's kind of hard to miss because like you go to the theater and like it's right there, the trailer, you know. So like I don't know, I try to approach it like the best way I can. Like, I mean, because like I try to, I don't know how I'm trying to word it, but I'm proud of like like all the different things that I've done as far as like just trying to get better with like videos and stuff and editing and all that. So like I know I've just kind of like rambled in different directions there, but
I get you. I think that's a great answer though, Ryan. Yeah, like the past lives you did put part of yourself in there, which is great. And I do like a good Ryan rant as well.
Yes.
The what is it? What is that one that I watched? The worms one, or what was it? The
all jacked up and full of worms.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That movie. And Perez hated it too. I'll never forget that screening. What's funny about that is when I first went to watch it, like something happened to my internet or something, and I should have took that as a sign to not finish the movie. And I ended up finishing it the next day, and I was like, that was a sign to not watch it. So, yeah, good rant's good. I think everybody loves a rant.
I will say I do love, because I want to ask D what your favorite and you know what video you're proud of, but I will say D, I always love when you have a out of the theater reaction. It's a bad movie, aka Paint.
You know, right away.
What you know what frustrates me most about Paint is that I can't even really fully explain why it's bad, like to the point where if I did a review, like I'm very articulate and I feel like I'm very good at explaining and breaking down like why something is bad, but Paint was I think Paint aggravated it so much because it was such an utterly useless, pointless movie. Like, who made this and why? It's not funny. It's not interesting. No, like everyone sucks in it. Like I just like whack. Like there's nothing else to say. Like it just sucks on every level, and it just and it frustrates me because I like to be able to say like, you know, I like to just say what it is. But when it comes to Paint, even when I did that reaction, I was just like, I don't know what to say. Like this is a disaster, and I didn't make this point, but it also is offensive because Bob, you know, I think even if people aren't familiar with Bob Ross, like really familiar with him, Bob Ross was a very, you know, influential, very memorable person. For all intents and purposes, a very good person. You know, just lived a great life, whatever. And like, what are you doing here? Like, you make Owen Wilson up like this Bob Ross lookalike, but he's sleeping with women, and he like it was just weird. Like what is like it makes I was so aggravated because just like why was my time wasted watching this? That was a hot mess, but at least I was entertained. But that was just like, what is this? Like, what are you doing? Why? So yeah. Hank
It's
made me
funny.
mad.
I was gonna say what's funny. Every time I see that Blu-ray, I always remember your out of the theater reaction before it. Just want to let you know that. I'm like, I remember how much Dee loved it.
It was everything I wanted it to be and more.
Oh, Ryan, every time you see it, whenever you go to the shop, send Dee a picture.
There we go. There we go.
The movie when it strikes again.
Again.
Well, I can tell you this: no one's buying any of the copies because it's been collecting dust on that shelf.
As it should be.
Well, I'll tell you what you need to do, Ryan. You need to buy a copy and send it over to this man right here.
Oh man. Via
But Dee,
overnighter.
If you decide to do that, okay. If you decide to do that, I cannot be responsible for what happens after that. That's
You
all.
can use it as a coaster, man. No big deal.
But Dee, I'm going to ask you, so what video are you most proud of then?
Okay, so I kind of like the video. Oh, that's hard. Okay, wait. Yeah, see, the problem is there are a few, and I feel like if I say all those, I'm going to sound like I'm being arrogant. So, okay, there are a few, but it's only the only reason I'm mentioning this many is because there are specific reasons. So, I appreciated my experience with 1001. One, because it was like a really unexpected experience at Sundance that I got to see. And I got to delve a little bit deeper. I'm not embarrassed about being emotional. It's just there are times like, ooh, are we going here? But it was one of those moments I got to really be open about my experience with my hometown and growing up and explaining that and kind of tying into my feelings about the film as well. So, it was a little, I think my general sharing of personal things in these videos, it's just to kind of like honor and kind of pay tribute to the people and the places and the aspects of my life that tie into these films. That has genuinely shaped my life. So, it got a little more deep in that. And I think it was a little bittersweet because it's like I'm acknowledging that, the place that shaped me, is not a place that really exists in that world, and those people, those things don't exist anymore. And it kind of tied in with 1001 because it's talking about the evolution of New York City and how it then becomes this place, that doesn't reflect the people and it doesn't reflect the culture and the thing that you grew up with. So that was a tough one, but I appreciate to get through it. Halloween Kills, I acted an absolute donkey on, and it was not my intention. But I've come to realize that when films are like bad enough, or if I'm just genuinely taken off guard by a film being that bad and like shockingly bad, it brings out some real comedy in me. I don't know why. It's not like it's my goal, but like in that Halloween Kills review, I literally did I did an Evil Dies Tonight musical number from a Halloween musical. Like I was like, if Halloween was a musical, then Evil Dies Tonight would be this song. Like, and I mean, I went off the rails on that video, and so I loved that I did that. It's a little embarrassing, not really embarrassing, but it's just like, man, that's all I could do was just lean into the comedy of it because I don't mind ranting, the type of person to like expend energy being angry and upset, except when it comes to pain. But I try not to expend too much literal, genuine, angry. Oh no, I try not to do that. So I love the fact that the comedy comes out. I did that with Halloween Kills. What I love about Nope is the fact that I was very firm about my feelings, and it was one of those. I think we can all say that we'll say what we feel. We can say what we want to say, but there are times where we don't always. Sometimes you just don't feel like being the one outlier for a film, like the one person who's just like, no, this is terrible, or no, this actually is great. Sometimes not the fact that we want to go with the majority, but sometimes it can feel awkward. So with Nope, I was just like, no, like this. What I was literally in the theater like talking trash on Instagram, and I literally I reposted a video. I don't even know what this is from, but this video where this guy is like slapping everybody at his party. And I was like, no, 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 no. I was very upset. I was extremely upset. And I made that clear in the video. And I feel like I was very passionate about it. And I also did something that wasn't necessary, but I made a point about how people do the whole like, oh, you didn't like it because you didn't understand it. And I was like, oh, well, let's go down that rabbit hole really quickly. And after it was over, I was like, oh, I feel good. I said it. I got it out, and we are done. So yes. And the last one I'm just going to mention is The Cook of Castamar. It is a Spanish language series that came out, I believe it was in 2021. The reason I'm so proud of that one is, one, it highlights foreign, like foreign content, which I love, anything foreign for the most part. But that was my first time, I think, discussing something foreign, and the fact that it was or at least, of course, my first time talking about one on YouTube. But I put a lot of information and a lot of thoughts and a lot of, there was a lot I discussed there, and it kind of pushed me in a way that I wasn't used to. And it's funny that to this day, because it did okay in views, but to this day, a lot of people have watched it. It's like my second highest performing video. So like right now it's sitting at 4.5. I don't know how. I promise you, when it first came out, it's not even one of those that suddenly blew up. It was always just kind of sitting in the 100s, whatever. And then one day I just happened to look at what the most popular videos, and all of a sudden it hit like suddenly come up to here. So I just like the fact, it also means I probably need to do more foreign content, but I just love the fact that with the comments and what everyone had to say, they were like, oh, someone else loves this show, or I didn't think anyone else, watched this, but I love, so it was just a really gratifying experience overall. So yeah.
Nice.
Some awesome experiences, Dee, especially with the different examples, whether it was like throwing yourself in the review or a bad movie and you just had it like dumped out, like Halloween Kills, or that one that blew up. Yeah, that's awesome. The thing is though, like your favorite videos, it's a wide range of different experiences. It's not as if it's the same kind of review you've done, but like 4 or 5 times in a way.
Right.
So I respect that. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I think that's what's gratifying about it. There's always something to take away from it, even if the video doesn't do as well as you want it to, whether it does or whether it doesn't, or it explodes or it doesn't. There's always something I learned from every experience, and it's just something I come to appreciate. Even if we end up in a situation where Anthony A. Perez decides he wants to fight me because I didn't love Avatar: The Way of Water, it's like, well, you know what? That's a core memory I have now.
I thought this comment was funny. Forget a horse's head in the bed from Godfather. Just put a copy of Pain in there. Now that's a comment.
Yeah. Make him an offer he'll never forget. Absolutely. Yes.
Ryan Sweels, the movie menace.
I had no idea you had Perez going after you with Avatar. That's funny.
Oh, yes, man. If you disagree on Perez with a movie, he'll let you know you disagree with him.
Yeah, I'm just like, but see, the thing is, then he wanted to be, and this is, and see, the thing is, Anthony, I don't think Anthony really wants it with me. He acts like he does, but he really doesn't. He really doesn't. And what was that? Anthony and I have had some conversations. That's all I'm going to say. But let me just make it a point. My relate to the way is way worse than anything Anthony and I have had going on, and I think he knows. I think you know that, Mike.
Oh, I know. Well, I've actually got something to show you, actually.
Oh, gosh.
I actually got your favorite movie the other day on physical media.
Avatar: The Way of Water. I got that steelbook too.
However, D, that you'll be glad to know there's no sign of spider anywhere on the front or back.
When I tell you that character literally brought that film down an entire letter grade. I was like, James Cameron, like, I know you are lying to me. I was quite offended by that character. I'm sorry.
Oh, it was bad. It's bad. But I'm sure Anthony would be like, D, you're missing the emotional standpoint from that guy, you know?
Probably. Ooh. Listen, like Anthony has like an inner thug that people don't know about, and I think he is just really willing to go toe to toe, and I'm like, okay, I mean, we can do that, but I'm also trying to be a good friend, and if we're going to get into a physical, throwdown, that's going to complicate the dynamics of our friendship. So let's not do that.
Wow.
Oh man, I think Ryan's had a lucky break from Perez at the moment.
Yeah, hasn't said anything to me. I've been good. That's probably because I haven't seen majority of the Star Wars movies, so I haven't had to say anything or disagree with him on Star Wars. And if I say anything about Star Wars, he'll be there until he's blue in the face defending that.
Ooh. It'll be going down if you come for Star Wars.
Ryan, if you ever disagree with Perez about a Star Wars movie, I hope you've got a full weekend free because he will tell you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he would.
And I love how we mentioned him when he's not even here as well. Disappointed with him. I'll be telling him to watch the playback. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. I think we have one question from Ryan saying, "What's a movie that someone told you was terrible but you enjoyed it, even in a guilty pleasure kind of way?"
Oh, I'm pretty sure I had one of these experiences not long ago, actually. I don't know if you guys want to go first. Have a look, and I'll have a quick look through my tickets.
I mean, I can name some horror movies that people tell me that suck all the time that I like. I mean, I like the Nun movies. I know people don't like them. And Gretel and Hansel, I like that movie, and a lot of people hate that movie.
Oh, the newer one?
Yeah, the Gretel and Hansel. It's like from
you know what?
I think.
Yeah, from 2020. But I realized you said Gretel and Hansel, and the one I'm thinking of is Hansel and Gretel, the Witch Hunters. I forgot they.
I like that one too.
Yeah, that one's good too. But I realized when you said Gretel, they purposely put Gretel's name first in this other one. Yeah. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I get shit for liking that and the Nun movies all the time. That was my answer.
I honestly need a thing. I'm trying to go through these tickets to try and find one.
All 10,000 of them.
Exactly.
Man, I'm not kidding. Like, just to give you guys a quick context here. So that is just 2023.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find, because it's easy for me to pick a movie that everyone was like, "Oh, it's amazing," and it was terrible. I can give you one of those examples.
Right.
But the other vice versa. I honestly don't know. D, have you got one?
Yeah, well, I'll throw one in there. A lot of people thought, well, I mean, I won't say, well, it seemed to me like it was a good amount of people. So, so I could be right or wrong. I heard people saying that Joyride and the Super Mario Brothers movie were like terrible and bad and so on and so forth. I was very entertained by both. Now, what I can say with the Super Mario Brothers movie is that it was very thin as far as like plot and all that. It was a little more simplistic than it needed to be, and especially with all the Easter eggs. It is like Easter egg heavy, but just as far as a general like fun, low stakes, just a good time experience. It's information, which I love. And I just sometimes, excuse me, pardon the sermon, but I feel like sometimes with certain people, if something is not a pristine cinematic achievement, then it's garbage, and I just don't agree with that. Like, film can serve so many different, can provide so many different experiences, and so something doesn't have to be perfect to be entertaining or effective. Sometimes it's nice to have a pick me up. It would be nice if I'm feeling low or down, and I watch something like the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's nice to walk out of that feeling like, oh, like I feel refreshed. I feel a good time. I love the nostalgia of, the Mario Brothers experience, especially as a kid and growing up in the evolution of Nintendo and all that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece.
I agree with you. Yeah, I thought Super Mario Bros. Was a fun movie for what it was.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, we got yours right here, Mike.
Oh man, that's the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. So no.
Sai says guilty pleasure for him is Fast and Furious movies. Okay.
Oh yeah.
They get a lot of shit. They get a lot of shit.
They do. Now I think they've kind of ran off the rails as time has gone on, but I still think that but they still. I feel like now I'm not gonna lie, 9 and 10 really was a struggle for me. Even though like there is this general kind of like, man, this is just goofy and silly. But I will say it was a test for 9 and 10. But up until that point, I really didn't have anything bad to say.
Wow. I think I saw number 7 or 8D and I was like, I'm out.
You see, I was fine. I mean, it was already going overboard. I was like, this is goofy. Oh my gosh, stop it right now. So yeah.
Fast 10 Part 2, D will be there day 1.
I'll be there because I just keep watching them.
Yeah, I need to know how is your boy going to survive the exploding dam and like a tidal wave of water somehow.
Well, I've got an example. I found a ticket. So this was about a year ago. Well, a year ago in a few weeks' time. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to read that. It's for the movie 65.
Okay. Yeah, I like that movie. I like that. A lot of people hated that as well.
Yeah, a lot of people hated that movie, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's terrible. It's garbage." It's like one of the worst movies of the year, and I was like, "It's not that bad."
Yeah,
I thought it was quite promising. I felt some of the ideas were weak. Could have definitely been better, but I think overall it was an okay movie. I walked out there thinking, "Yeah, getting way too much hate than it deserves."
Yeah, I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
We have Casual Fan in here saying first 3 is great, referring to the Fast and Furious after its bad movies. When Paul Walker died, I dipped. I can't watch it anymore without him in it. I can understand. Yeah, a lot of people, I think, feel that way as well. Let's see. We got Danny in here saying hi. How are you doing? I'm doing good.
Hey, Danny.
Thanks for joining.
I hope you're doing well, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Andrew says, my ultimate guilty pleasure is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Okay. Whatever works, man.
I can get that, yeah. I can get that. It's good to see Emma Stone in there, that's for sure.
Sai says Fast 5 was the best.
Absolutely. I've always thought that, and even more so because they've gone so far off the rails. It was like, to me, Fast 5 had the perfect balance of the grounded aspect of it, that kind of that grounded nature of it. It brought everyone together from all previous films, the third one, the second one, like all those characters. The diversity of it, of course, was fun. Not that was the point, but yeah, before we kind of started getting into like Fast and Furious Avengers, I loved kind of just like that middle road they were on. I wish they could have found
Fast and Furious Avengers.
Because That's where we are now. It's just like no.
Oh man, that's a great word for a D.
Fast Five had great car chases. Other than that, it's mid. Interesting.
I think they're far worse. I think I won't say that, but yeah, in comparison to some of these other ones, especially with 9 and 10, we can just agree to disagree. But I understand where you're coming from.
Fair enough. Ryan Swell says, "Don't ask me how I came about it, but I'd love for y'all to watch Rabbit Grannies. Thank me later." Rabbit Grannies? That sounds like a watch along.
He told me about this on Instagram. I looked it up, the poster, and I was like, wow, okay. Well, you know, I'm game for this.
Yeah, it sounds like a Mike movie, honestly.
Mike's specialty coming up.
I have a question. What is a film that you figured that you had an idea like this is probably not going to be good, but it managed to be worse, like far worse than you thought it would be?
It's far worse.
Far worse? Gee.
Well, if you guys don't have one, I do.
Go for it.
Go over, yeah.
Independence Day Resurgence. What a train wreck. I did not have high expectations, especially after I knew Will Smith was coming. Not even just that. Like I already knew Will Smith wasn't going to be a part of it. Fine, but I don't like this thing where it's like, let's make a sequel 20 years after the fact. It's just like it's too much time. You know, the way that filmmaking and all that stuff, you know, kind of for better or worse, too many things have changed, and I just feel like for whatever, even if you have good intentions, you can't recapture a lot of times what made that original film great. I feel like one of the rare examples where it has worked is Top Gun Maverick, because they really made it work. But most films, those gaps don't work at all. And I think my biggest issue is that as silly and crazy and over the top as the first Independence Day was, there was just this level of seriousness and some groundedness, you know, to this alien invasion and all the stuff going on in the dynamics and the characters. But in the Independence Day Resurgence, they just say, you know what, we're gonna throw all this out the window, and we're gonna have a scene where Liam Hemsworth, they invade the alien compound, and he decides to distract an alien by dropping his drawers, urinating on the floor, and throwing his middle finger up towards the alien. I was just like, is this like I felt like I was watching something on like Nickelodeon or the Disney Channel, or like just like this is not a serious, like not even adult, because we can argue about that, but I was just like, this is what we're really doing. And then we had another scene where this intelligent, advanced life form, this alien queen, which is headed towards Area 51, it gets distracted by a school bus and starts running after it like some little kitten or a little puppy dog. I was just like, okay, y'all, no. I was like, kill everyone. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Everyone can die. That's where I am right now.
D, I know exactly what you mean, because I suffered through that at the cinema as well.
I don't get it. It's just like all you have to do is just, look, we just want to see some explosions. We want to see the aliens invade and blow up stuff, and that's fine. All this additional stuff that y'all are doing, like, I mean, seriously, who said it? Prodigious Spider-Man. Yeah, bad SNL skit. Like when films feel like being like a parody of themselves, I can't deal with it. It's just like, you're not taking this seriously, and I can't either. Get me out of here.
Yeah, D, I remember that movie, and unfortunately, I remember it. And there was a lot. It feels like it was a good while ago. 2017, 2018, maybe.
I'm not sure exactly when it came out. I never saw it, honestly.
You've done yourself a favor, Ryan.
I'm so glad I haven't watched it.
Oh man, I do have an example as well, D. I can't really go into detail like that because I don't remember a lot of it, thankfully. But for me, Taken 3, we had Taken, which was like different. And that's actually a really good movie.
Yeah.
But by the third one, I'm just like, how is his wife and his daughter getting kidnapped still?
Yeah, it was awful.
Has he not employed extra security for these people? What is going on?
And then they set it up to, it looks like it could be a fourth one, but thank God we haven't gotten
there. I'm just like, could you have not taken tips from Jodie Foster and put them in a panic room or something? I don't know.
Yeah, see, Taken is one of those where, like I said, you had the first experience. It was really, really enjoyable. It was really entertaining, like just kind of a little bit of a different, take on the, what would you even call it? Like the, bounty hunter, agent, that kind of stuff. And it was a very specific focus because, of course, the father, tracking these folks down to get his daughter back. And it was a great experience. For me, I remember when I heard about Taken 2 coming out and something about the daughter getting it, and I was just like, look, the first Taken was fine. And I haven't seen Taken 2, so maybe it wasn't that bad, but I was just like, look, he got her back. I'm good. That's where it ends for me. And then with 3, I was like, okay, again, this ended the first time for me. He got her back. I don't know why we're still getting kidnapped while everybody's getting in on the game, but y'all can have it. I'm good.
Yeah. He's I feel like he's been making that same kind of movie, like even past Taken. He's done like the one on the train, he's done it on a plane. Yeah. Somebody told me he did a submarine, which I didn't know he did a submarine movie apparently. So, he does all forms of transportation.
Yeah, like he's out there in the snow in the mountains on sleds, taking down. All right.
It's crazy. They must have sit him down in the room and be like, right, where's your loved one going to get taken this time?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But yeah, they don't watch Taken 2 or 3. You didn't miss much, my friend.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Casual Fan says, if you can make any movie, what would it be? I guess he's figuring like genre or like...
I've got an idea for a short movie / skit, but I'm not telling you guys that because that's in the works. So
fair enough.
My mouth is shut, so I can't answer this one.
I'd probably make a horror movie if I could.
Okay.
Unless I could think of a story that was meaningful, because I want to do one of the two.
Okay, here's one. Because I have two particular ones. Honestly, and I was just telling, it was Sin. I was on her live stream. I was telling her this. One particular, I guess, pool that Hollywood refuses to pull from. They're throwing all these millions of dollars. Greek mythology is actually like a really unique, set of stories. Like the gods, the goddesses, the demigods, the nymphs, the monsters. Like there is so much. There are so many interesting, unique stories. I'm actually, ironically enough, and this isn't why I'm saying this, but I'm a big audiobook listener. And so I just started Medusa's Sisters. And it tells the story of, Medusa and her sisters, Steno and Euryale, before they become these, I guess, legendary monsters, so to speak. And what I love about stories like that, there's another book called Circe and then the Song of Achilles, is that it's just interesting seeing the world in which the world of humanity, the world of gods and goddesses, monsters, like the way this society works, where all these people are like interfering with each other's lives, and these really crazy, tragic, messed up things that happen as a result of it. We got the gods sleeping around with mortal people, giving birth to, people like Hercules, who can do all these powerful things. It's just, there's a lot of drama, a lot of mess, a lot of crazy, chaotic stories. And I just wish someone would take the opportunity to make those, because they're really, really great. And even Medusa's Sisters, Circe, the Song of Achilles, I've enjoyed all those immensely. So that would be my number one. Something within that world, definitely.
That's a good idea.
I think there's a lot you can, as you mentioned, Dave, there's a lot you can pull from with that, and you can make a full line of movies or something like that.
Yeah.
I think, I know it's not really the same, but I think there might be a God of War TV series coming.
Oh, see, and see, I never got to like play God of War. Concept for it, just like that story, even read it or whatever. I always thought the concept of God of War was awesome, and of course it's Greek mythology, so I love it anyway. But yeah, but it's even more intense, and actually not even more intense. Definitely keeping in line with some of the more intense stories of Greek mythology, because I'm talking about like we killing babies. We're like even Zeus's story came about because his father tried to swallow him and all of his siblings because he knew someone would rise to power and overthrow him. And through the influence or the intervention of someone else, he ended up being spit out by accident, and then he managed to gather all his siblings and overthrow him. But even to begin with, the fact that his father is like, nah, I'm just going to devour all my children because it's crazy. It's so much going on. So yeah.
D, I think I know you never played the games. I think you'd love it, even if you went on YouTube and just watched the.
Oh yeah.
Not the gameplay, just the story arc of it. It's really good how it's done, and they're still making those games nowadays. They're going. The last few games have been a bit more Nordic mythology, however.
Yeah.
Compared to like the Ares and the Zeus and stuff, they're going more like Thor kind of thing.
Right.
Really, really good though.
Nice.
So I'm with you, D. I think that would be a great idea for movies.
Yeah.
Instead of getting a bunch of Hercules movies, we had a ton of those.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, and sorry, they haven't been great. Now I'll give Disney its kudos because it's a fun time. Especially the muses. I'll always have love for that. But as far as like a genuine, like real portrayal, not just of Hercules, but also like something real like Greek mythology, I haven't really gotten it
yet. Nah. I think they will though. Again, I think it'll be one of those things, D, as you mentioned, they might start with Hercules because people know of Hercules through the mainstream movies in the past. And I think if that's successful, then they'll go on to someone else and then slowly get there, I think.
Yep. Let's see in here. Sai saying, my new guilty pleasure is Spaghetti Man. Spaghetti Nunchucks, the best.
Yeah. Very entertaining movie.
And he also has a question. Is there a film that everyone loves but you hate? For me, it is Wolf of Wall Street. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I've got a perfect example for this. This was last year. The movie Bottoms.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone loved that movie. And they're like, it's the comedy of the year. It's so funny. I want to see it. And I hated that movie. And I was open. I said, hey, look, I hated it. I didn't mention sexuality once in the review, apart from I just said it's an LGBT movie, which I'm happy to watch. I watched one the other night called Femme on Netflix, and it was great.
Was it? Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely interesting for sure. Really, really enjoyed it. I think I gave it like 3.5 out of 5. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
But on the Bottoms review though, I had so many comments being like, "This movie's not for you." I'm like, where on the movie does it say not for straight men? But yeah, like that's a movie that everyone loved, but I hated that movie. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. I could easily go with that as well because I don't like it either.
Did you watch that one, D?
Oh, Bottoms. It didn't look like it was going to be for me. Like, it's not like I was, a lot of times I'll see movies regardless, even when I'm unsure of it. But it's just like, depending on what's going on, depending on the time of the year and what's going on with work and all that, I sometimes have to be a little bit choosy about what I spend my time, kind of give my time to. And Bottoms was not it. I enjoyed the I cannot think of her name, but the lead actress, the black actress, I love her in The Bear. She's great there. But as far as the general vibe of the film, didn't look like it was. It kind of looked like it was gonna get on my nerves, and I'm already real when it comes to high school type stuff because I just find reminders of that time, even though my high school experience was cool, but it's just like whenever I see high school centric stories, most of the characters are obnoxious and they get on my nerves. It's just something about those films that I find obnoxious. So
I can get that. But you didn't miss much, so you got off light.
No, not at all. Let's see. For me, Get Out is the most overrated movie of all time.
Quick question. Did you answer that, Ryan?
Yeah, same thing as him. Bottom's easy. I can't stand that movie.
What's another one?
Okay, let me think.
Mm-hmm.
God, what's a movie that everybody loved?
I'm trying to think because I'm sure there's been some reviews right now.
I'll go and I'll let you think, but you got to come up with something.
All right, fine. I'll come up with something. Let me see what I have on my list.
Okay, but I'll go ahead and go. Without a doubt, completely La La Land. I do not care for La La Land at all.
What?
I think La La Land is is Hollywood industry machine push BS. I'll be honest, and the thing is, I guess what makes it worse is I am such a musical type of dude on stage, in film, whatever. And I guess I kind of went in thinking, and let's be clear, musicals don't have to have an obvious musical vibe. You can kind of switch it up, and it doesn't have to just be like and one and two. Like you can subvert expectations a little bit, but I just thought the singing, the choreography, fine. Emma Stone, I thought it was very uninspired, very bland. And I went in, and maybe it's not good that either that same year or recently, The Greatest Showman came out, and I thought that was going to be whack, and I ended up loving that. And so it was almost like the opposite experience. Thought I was going to love La La Land, couldn't like. I thought it was and then I thought I wasn't going to like Greatest Showman, end up loving it. Still play that soundtrack to this day. So now I will say the ending of La La Land was great. I think visually they did a wonderful job. But when I tell you I couldn't have been any less connected to that film, its characters and everything else, it was a no for me.
Fair enough.
I'm shocked.
I liked it.
I am very, very happy for you both.
I have the steel book.
Wow, yeah, because I know you're a big musical guy, so I thought you would have really liked that one.
Interesting.
So here's a question then. So since seeing La La Land originally, have you revisited it to see if your thoughts are still the same or it's worse? Or
one of these days I will, but I'm still too upset.
Wow. That's interesting.
I'm gonna have to get D to watch this movie again.
Mm-hmm. Somehow. Maybe one of these days. Ryan, did you come up with something?
Yeah, I got one. The Exorcist 3. Don't like that movie at all. I know a lot of people that like that movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, and that is true. I've heard a lot of positive things about that one, but okay, yeah.
I watched it one time, and I haven't watched it since. I didn't like it at all. I think I gave it like a 1.
Wait, but have you seen the second one?
No, I haven't. That's the thing.
That's what I'm saying. I'm curious. Not to say you'll probably still feel the same about 3, but I'm just curious to see if it gets even a little bit better after watching 2.
Yeah, I'd have to watch 2. Never seen 2. I've only seen 1 and 3.
I've never seen 2 or 3.
Have you seen 1?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I was gonna say, I'm like my. We already know the probability with Mike is always low.
I'm pretty bad too, though. Like if it's like an '80s movie or something, I probably haven't seen it. Most likely, any of those older movies.
But yes, D, I have seen Exorcist, and I even ordered on Steelbook back there as well.
Okay.
I know I haven't disappointed you too much. That's good.
Not too much. But don't worry, there'll be more opportunities for you to disappoint me in the future.
There will be, probably.
Let's see. What else we got in here? Taken 3, Neeson should have just put the phone down and binge watched some TV. He's just making the situation worse at this point.
Just put the phone down.
Let's get it. Liam Neeson on a boat or moped or blimp.
Hey, I might watch the blimp movie. I like blimps.
I think blimp, yeah, that could be interesting.
Let's see what else we got in here.
Taken in the Sky.
I hope Henry Cavill gets to be Kratos if this is still happening.
I don't think he's got. If you've ever played God of War, you've seen it. Kratos is a very rugged person, like very rough, and he's been through a lot. Henry Cavill's too polished for that.
I was gonna say they probably need to go with someone who has. This is gonna sound bad, but I'm not trying to be funny. But they need to have somebody have a bit of ugly going on. So like they need someone who's like rough face. They have someone who's just like not just handsome or having like the the polished debonair movie star look. They need someone who looks like they've been through some ish. So yeah.
Yeah, not this actor, but someone like a Mark Strong kind of look. That's what you need.
Right. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, but not him.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And not to say that Mark Strong is ugly, because I don't think that, but I'm just saying, but someone where it's like not typical features, not Hollywood features. Yeah.
Right.
I know nothing about it, so I can't comment on it.
Look up a picture, Ryan, after this. You'll see what I mean.
I got you. I know nothing about it.
The next God was supposed to be in Egypt. Oh, okay.
Listen, I love Egyptian, even though Greek is at the top for me. I'm still for Egyptian mythology as well, and kind of that whole world. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, I love the Mummy movies, so like stuff like that. I get into that.
Mm-hmm. Ryan's favorite Mummy movie is the Tom Cruise one, isn't it, Ryan?
I've never seen it. I never plan to.
You've done yourself a favor.
I hear it's so terrible that I've never had the inkling to watch it.
Dee's favorite movie of that year, I believe.
Clearly. But okay, so for what it's worth, I won't say it's like it's not like as far down as like absolute garbage, like I could never watch it again. It's just one of those situations where maybe if there was no other Mummy that existed, I might feel differently. But I feel like the first, because honestly, I think it was 1999, maybe. But that Mummy, or I know late 90s at least. But the first Mummy movie is one of my favorite action adventure films, because I don't know, it just did so many things. Like it had this horror kind of vibe to it, and it was a direct remake of the Universal the Universal monsters, and that Mummy film, how they kind of took that, had this kind of classic 30s old school vibe, but then they had the action, the adventure, and then Imhotep and all the plagues. Like there were so many layers to the story, and the fact that for all his scary, batty, ugly, creepy stuff, he understood his motivation. He was like, "Hey, I was cheated out of my love, and I wasn't able to bring it back. And then y'all removed my tongue, and I got devoured by all these beetles, and I have this juicy corpse. Like this isn't fair." So yes, it was so great that I feel like, in contrast, the whole Tom Cruise stuff, it just wasn't interesting to me. Like the backstory wasn't interesting. Them making the Mummy female not an issue to me. It just felt like they were like, oh, let's find a way to just kind of flip this around. And then what they do at the end, where he's the one with, I'm not going to spoil it, but where he ties into the main character that way. I was like, no thanks. I didn't like it.
I know I hated the third one a lot. I didn't like that. Did you like the third one? That's what I'm curious. The Tomb with the Dragon Emperor.
What third one?
The Mummy.
I haven't heard anything about a third movie.
I gotcha.
Dave, you've just brought a good point there. We're just talking about Kratos for God of War movie. Someone who's got the face of like an Arnold Vosloo kind of face, I think would be good. There we go.
Yeah. Like something a bit. Oh, okay. So Ryan, I was excited for this because I was like Dwayne The Rock, yeah, but he has the physicality, he has the look. Especially if you've seen if you've or any kind of old school illustrations of like the Greek and how they have the look of Hercules, he definitely has that. So I was excited for it, but I thought it was going to be about him doing like the 12 labors of Hercules. If you've ever heard that story, it's like he has to take on it's all these things he has to do to prove himself worthy to be a god, basically. And I thought it was going to get into the mythology of that. And then I heard that all that happens in like the first 5-10 minutes of the movie, and the rest of it is him working like with these regular mortal people to take down some villain that also is human or something like that. And I was just like, no, that's not what I want. So I just out of sheer aggravation and annoyance, I decided I purposely didn't go see it.
I haven't seen a D, so I can't comment. I didn't hear good things.
So I saw it and I remember it being okay, but I haven't seen it since the theater. I liked it more than the version with the dude from Twilight.
Yeah, I heard that one was bad.
That one was
and
it
looked terrible anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, that one was really awful. It was definitely better than that. I forget the guy's name.
It had much competition there, Ryan.
Yeah, I know. But there was a time when they kept cranking out all the Hercules movies, and then they had those other movies with what was it called?
I mean, go back to Arnold's film debut, Hercules in New York.
I haven't seen that.
Please. Even Arnold wouldn't want you to do that.
Wow, that bad, huh?
It's pretty tragic.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Frozen for me, everyone loves it, but I hate it. The first one, at least. Frozen, huh?
I have never seen Frozen. It kind of came out in a time where I was a little. I was still in my what's the word? I was still in my rebellious. I was still in my rebellious phase regarding computer animated films. So yeah. So at that time, I was just like, oh my gosh, what happened to hand drawn animation? What is the state of the world? I'm tired of this. Go away. So yes, I didn't go see it.
I've never seen a D, so I'm with you.
Oh wow! So I'm the only one that sees it and owns it.
However, I did eventually see Tangled because I remember my friend when it came out, she was like, Frozen was okay, but Tangled is the one you need to see. And a few years ago, they did like a AMC will sometimes do these showings like tied into like some kind of, I don't know if it's like an advertising marketing thing, but it was like this dream big, think like a princess, something like that. And so they had The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Tangled, and it was either Frozen or another movie, or maybe Cinderella, the newer Cinderella, the live action Cinderella. And I decided to finally go and see Tangled. I thought it was great.
So. I've heard good things about Tangled D, but I've still not seen it yet. I know of it, though. I know of it.
Yeah.
At least.
Let me see. 80s movies or older movies. God, I feel old. I mean, then I mean, I was born in '89, so it's 34 years ago. I mean, it is getting pretty old at that point.
And that's how I feel like when I see that films are being made. Basically, we're at the point where films that are set in 90s settings are period pieces now. So
Wow.
that's a hard pill to swallow for me, who grew up in the 90s.
Same. Same AD.
Let's see. It's kind of you to say I should play Kratos. I'm honored.
Yes, Ryan, you do a great job with your Newcastle accent, isn't it, Kratos?
Let's see. Are you guys excited for Deadpool 3? I am, because of cameos, and it will not save. I don't know what that is.
I think that's the MCU.
MCU, okay. No, I'm not really excited for Deadpool 3. Honestly, like, I'll go watch it because, like, I know my wife will want to go watch it, but, like, I'm not, like, really big fans of those movies, to be honest with you. But I'll go watch it.
D, how about you?
What about you, Mike?
No, I mean, I'll go see it. I like the other two, but I'm not excited for it, though.
Yeah.
Well, not to bring the mood up, but I have at least some marginal. Oh, gotcha.
MCU.
Okay. Yes, the MCU. But I have at least some marginal excitement, only because I did enjoy the first two, and I like that it was really kind of the antithesis of what we've seen in the MCU. This kind of foul. I liked seeing that, and it caught me off guard. I knew that Deadpool was kind of an R-rated character. I had kind of been told that anyway, but we got into that first film and we saw like the progression of his, is it Wade? Yeah, Wade and Vanessa's relationship through the passage of the holidays, getting it in from Sunday through Saturday. I was like, oh, all right, we're pulling no punches here. So yeah, so I've enjoyed that. And I'm not gonna lie, yeah, it's the cameo stuff is a really easy way to kind of bring people in. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a sucker for that kind of stuff. When they talk about fan service and all that, yeah, that's me. So that's fine. And really, I would like to see Wolverine one last time, because I feel like the way that the ball has been dropped with X-Men, that is like my favorite superhero. Anything outside, I hope to just see that. And whatever they end up doing with X-Men, I'm holding out hope for it, but I just want to at least see the one thing that was solid about the X-Men franchise, even with all the foolishness they did with the timeline and those other films.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Wolverine back, D.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I don't think he's going to be in one more movie, though. For him to get in all that shape, I think he's probably done some other stuff as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have some plans for him.
Yeah.
And then Ryan says he really liked Brolin as Cable. Underappreciated, I think.
I did as well. I totally agree with that. And it's so funny because I still have this with me. I have to figure out in what bin somewhere in this house it is. But when I'm pretty sure my mom bought this when I was like 3, 4, or maybe my grandmother. But I actually have an X-Men animated series children's book. And it's the episode about the cure. When Rogue is trying to get cured, and then Apocalypse ends up being the one who's, spearheading that whole thing to change them into like these, these brainwashed mutants with these powers. Crazy story. But I always knew Cable because of that, because he plays kind of he's a big part of that story. And I always thought his little thing with the blinker in his eye and all that, I thought that was cool. So all these years later, finally seeing him on the big screen, it was really, really exciting. It's like, man, like I started off, when I was very, very young, before I even really knew much about movies or anything. I knew who Cable was. So yeah.
That's cool, D. From childhood, that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for Cable's great, I think, in the Deadpool 2. He's one of the best parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Patrick was there as well. Hey, Patrick.
Yep.
Hope you're well.
Wanted to say hi to Patrick.
Hey.
Hey, Patrick. He says Deadpool 2 is mid, first one is better. I remember not liking the second one as much as the first one, but I've never really loved the movies per se. But I don't know how you guys feel on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the reason and I think this is what happens sometimes with sequels regardless, is just that the first time like there are no expectations because for some people you're being introduced to this character, or even if they are familiar, this is their first time seeing it on the big screen. So you always have that, it's kind of like, well, when I say I was thinking something when I said that. I'm sorry. They say like you never forget your first. I wasn't trying to be weird with saying that, but I'm just saying like, that first experience, you always remember that and appreciate that. And I think once you're familiar with the character, then you have to find a way to still make it interesting. And then we got, so I think 2 was still interesting. Like I really liked Domino and Cable and all that, but I do think the first one still had more of a like in your face kind of vibe that I think the second one kind of lost.
I agree, D. Yeah, it's like the lightning in the bottle kind of thing. Yeah. The first one was unique. It was different, as I said. It was more like the fourth wall break, MCU, Marvel characters. Everyone's like, whoa, okay. Okay. It's a bit like Guardians of the Galaxy. The first one, I remember the trailer for that came out. I thought, this looked terrible. But it was great. And then ever since, they tried to obviously be better than the first one. I still think the first one's the best out of those 3. So, and get where you come from.
See, that's another example because I tell people, and I don't know if they believe. Well, I mean, I'm assuming they believe me, but I remember telling people that when Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man were announced in the trailer and all that, everyone was like, "What is this?" Like, no, and da da da. And I was just like, am I the only one who's really like intrigued by this and here for it? I'm definitely gonna go see these. And then, then everyone was just like, oh, it's so great. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I knew it from the beginning.
D, the fortune teller.
Yes, exactly.
Cheetah says, I don't think they mixed Deadpool into the MCU. No one takes Deadpool seriously.
I mean, if you see the Deadpool trailer, the new one, it's shown them the events of the MCU so far, and on a big screen of walls to loads of TVs, all the movies and stuff. So they're definitely going to mix them in there.
And then he says the fourth wall shtick just ruined the character for future MCU films.
Yeah, I will say that doesn't necessarily go with the vibe, and so that's what I'm saying. I don't know if the whole point is that it's kind of from that character's perspective and the way that he moves, and so then if he interacts with everyone else, the dynamic. And granted, he interacts with other characters in the comics, but still, I think how that might work on film might be different or on the big screen.
Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting to see how they mesh the two. Yeah.
And it says you guys are not wrong in a way. In DB2, the little kid annoyed me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I understand what they were going for, but with the like moments, I was just like, I understand what y'all are trying to do, but children, like I said, same thing with high schoolers and preteen. Those characters, like, unless you really do it right, I'm probably gonna be irritated. I'm not saying I'm going to actively root for your death because we are talking about children and young folks here, but I'm not going to be happy about it, especially after I was subjected back to back watching, what was it? The Predator in 2018, The House with the Clock in its Walls in 2018. There's another film that is escaping me, but all 3 of them involve the most obnoxious, irritating children ever as a core part of the story. I was just like, I can't. If there are kids involved, I can't do it. I'm out. I was so angry after all 3 of those films. I was like, get the kids out. I can't do it anymore. No.
I can agree, D. Definitely agree, especially the Predator.
Oh my gosh, just and then we have him in. What was it? The Predator suit where this is how you kill the Predator. No.
Just bringing back some bad memories for D tonight.
I've luckily not watched any of those. Let's see. Maybe they can do a Deadpool Hannibal King team up.
Hannibal King? I don't know what that is.
I don't know either. Do you know what that is, D?
I'm not familiar with Hannibal. I feel like the name, I've heard the name before, but I don't know who Hannibal King actually is. So you have probably to explain.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Patrick. None of us know what it is. I know Mike is going to love this. People are already speculating Timothée Chalamet should play in someone in this MCU. Should this happen or keep him away from it all? I said keep him away.
Please keep him away from it. Well, I mean, actually,
here's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go on.
No. You go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, just keep him away from it. Unless they continue the train wreck of movies they've been recently. Maybe throw him in there to join the train wreck. I don't know.
No, I was gonna say, here's my thing, regardless of how I feel about Timothée Chalamet, because what I've said before is that I feel like technically, and it's like this with some actors. I feel like there are some actors that are technically good. I can say that they're technically good actors, but there's no emotional investment for me into them, and when they perform, it's just kind of like, okay, that's cool. But like some characters, even some actors that you can argue may not be as good as Timothée Chalamet, I have more of a connection and more investment into them because they have a lot of charisma, or they have a certain way that they act, or the type of characters they play. I kind of feel like Timothée Chalamet, there's this weird detached energy he has in his performances that kind of disconnects me from him. I think he's been good in Dune Part 1 and especially in Part 2, that third act. I thought he was actually really solid there. But in general, he doesn't really appeal to me. Like, I'm not mad at him as an actor, but he just doesn't click with me like other actors do.
Right. Yeah, I don't hate him either. It's just
The strange thing is, yesterday night, I was watching a few interviews with him. It came up on YouTube where he did with Austin Butler, he did a few interviews, and in the interviews, he seemed like a really fun person. He was loving the interviews. There was good conversation with him and the interviewer that wasn't just about the topic of Dune Part 2. So I was like, where's this fun side of him in the movies? I was like, if we got that from the interviews, brought that personality into a movie, I think I probably would be won over by him. But we always just seem to get the dreary, dragged out, depressed version of him.
Maybe he needs a comedy,
right?
Yeah, I think a comedy. I think as a nerdy kid, because he's a nerd in person, with gaming and all that stuff. So I think a nerdy comedy, him as a nerd, I think he'd probably do well.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I've never watched any interviews on him, so I can't comment on it, but that's interesting to know.
Yeah.
Ryan, did you see the question that Casual Fan did earlier? It was 5:48.
Here we go. What's a movie that changed you for the better while you were in high school? For me, is Forever Strong.
Don't know if I know that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. What is Forever Strong? Let me see.
Do you know this one, D?
I haven't. No, I'm not familiar with this one.
Forever.
Good question, no?
Strong.
Oh, well, mine's an easy one.
Okay, it's a sports drama, it says.
Okay.
Never heard of this movie, honestly. From 2008, it says. It's got Sean Astin in it from Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
I don't know anybody else in here. Just know him. Never heard of that one. But it looks like it's is it a rugby movie? Forced to play for prison teams. Yeah, I think this is rugby. Yeah. Troubled rugby player Rick Penning is sent to a juvenile detention center where he's forced to play for the prison team, his former club's biggest rivals. Interesting. Okay. Never heard of that one. That one went under the radar for me. This is a really good question. While I was in high school.
Mhm.
Well, I have two. One and for two different reasons. So a film that changed me for the better. It was X-Men 3: The Last Stand. It changed me for the better because I was able to see how easily a director's vision could change from one film to the next, and how you could go from an experience that was like blissful, delightful, everything you hoped it would be and more, to an absolute train wreck. So I then knew, like, okay, so when it comes to like threequels and third sequels or whatever, like it is possible for, these films to go down in flames, and I have to be willing to accept that. Just because these are fun, doesn't mean that I'm going to love them. Because when I walked out of X-Men 3: The Last Stand, I was just like, who did it? What, when, where, why, and how? I was not pleased. And I felt like that was one of the earliest experience I could think of. Where I was just like, okay, can I demand a refund? Because the end of X2 and this, no. So then I was able to change my standards. Yeah, I was able to change my standards after that. So that's one film that changed me for the better.
Yeah. What third movie, D? There isn't one.
Well, I mean, who knows? Because again, this timeline has been bent inwards, outwards, and flipped every which way from Sunday. So no, I don't even know. Do any of the X-Men films exist? I don't know.
I don't know. And what's the other movie you got, D?
Oh my gosh, Apocalypto. I love Apocalypto. It was one I was genuinely excited for when I saw the trailer, and not like foreign film experiences, because I had already kind of started doing my dive into that like probably some years before that. But it was my first time probably as a teenager edging into young adulthood and all that, that I was just like, oh, this is not like a mainstream type of, it's not your average everyday film. I really want to go and see this. And it worked out to where my sister and my sister is hearing impaired. We got to see this on New Year's Eve. We went in, it was like a late showing. I think it was just the two of us. And what was great is that obviously it's a subtitled movie. So as opposed to her just having to try to, read the lips and, missing things, like we got to have the same experience, and, we got to, experience it, in all of its gore and shock and awe and adventure and all of that. I just thought it was such a spectacle. I don't know. It delivered on so many fronts, and then having that experience with my sister as well, it just changed me for the better, because it was a new type of experience I had at the theater, and then also with someone I obviously love and care about very much.
That's awesome. And I'll be honest, the Apocalypto, great movie.
I haven't seen it. I can't comment.
Ryan, I think you'd really enjoy the movie.
Yeah, that's the one with Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah, directed.
Yeah, he directed. Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie, D. I haven't seen it in such a long time, but I definitely want to check it out. And I think it was one of the first fewer movies I watched with subtitles, actually, as well. So I always remember it. I know.
No, it's fine. Listen. I came to the conclusion many years ago that subtitles just aren't the thing for a lot of people. Now I can't personally relate, but I just feel like an entire world opens up when you allow yourself to go to get on team subtitles. You know what I'm saying? Like get with the wind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely agree. I think, like I say, Apocalypto was one of my first experiences I had a few before then, but I watch like loads of anime now, which is obviously subtitles galore. So
yeah.
doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I have friends that won't refuse to watch movies if they're subtitled. Like, I'm not watching it. It's not in English. I ain't watching it. So it's a shame because you're missing out on some films sometimes that are in the foreign realm. And I mean, we get screeners sometimes that are foreign movies. So I mean, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I'm just not big personally. People, I feel like and I know on social media people copy a lot of stuff, so I feel like I kept seeing the same thing being reposted over and over. But people kept saying like, man, I hate when I go on Netflix and I see like this really cool looking series or movie, and then it's in another language. Oh gosh, like how can you do that? I was just like, it's weird. It's really weird to me when people think like, this is just me, but I just think it's weird to suggest that, considering that we're talking about, we're in a world with multiple countries, multiple languages, multiple cultures. It's weird when people think that everything should be in English. I'm like, that's not the way the world works. And my thing is, you either go for it or you don't. But I find that I've seen with some people, it's almost just like, well, how dare this not be in English? I'm just like, someone could probably say the same thing over in another country. Why isn't this? So it's weird to me when people do that. And I'd rather people just say that I can't read fast and my eyes can't keep up with the screen and with the words. Because a lot of times that's really what it is. And they don't want to do the work. And if you don't, that's fine. But the whole English piece of it that's off-putting to me.
Yeah, some people may not like this, but a lot of times I'll throw on movies, and even if they're English, I'll have subtitles on. I don't know if you guys ever do that.
Agreed. Listen, when I'm talking about as a young kid, been reading since I was 2. That's fine, Mike. But as a young kid, when I was reading, I was 2. Once I realized that you could put words on the screen and keep up. Oh, I've been in this for a long time, and I understand like with the streaming, it's become more popular. Oh, but like way back in the day when we had like the big booty TVs that were in the square shape, that even back then. So yeah, I'm big on that, because sometimes my hearing is solid, but it's not the best, and it's easy for me to miss things, and things sound like other things, and even when I'm talking to people, sometimes I have to be like, wait, did you say such and such? So for me, it's very, very important.
Not to mention, like, the volume in movies can vary. Like, some audio isn't as strong as others, and sometimes the audio is up and down. Like, sometimes you'll turn a movie on and like it'll be kind of quiet, and you're like, shit, let me turn it up. And then you turn it up and like it just jumps up in audio. Like, what the hell are they doing? Like, so it definitely can vary. And then sometimes, obviously it could be quiet or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I've just gotten into a habit of doing that. I think I got in the habit of doing that because when my son was younger or whatever, and I'd watch a movie, like if he was talking or something like that, I would just kind of like throw on the subtitles to, listen in. So I guess I just got in that habit. I don't know, but the subtitles don't bother me. So like reading English from foreign titles as well, it doesn't bother me. So since I'm used to just doing it for regular English movies.
I get you.
But to answer this question, a movie that changed for the better, I don't know if I guess like just going like during the high school was like a lot of times like because you mentioned your sister and everything, like me going to the movies with like my sister, like the midnight showings and stuff. Like we used to do a lot of the stuff like Conjuring, which is a little bit after high school, but a movie that's always stuck with me in like the year that I graduated was B-Movie, because I think there's so many like funny lines in that movie. One of the lines that always stuck out to me in that movie is when they're going to pick the job, and they're like, so we have to pick one job, and you'll just work us to death. And she's like, "We're sure we'll try." And it just cracks me up because like I think about that all the time going into like the working world, just how that whole relates and everything. So as I've gotten older, I appreciate the comedy even more from that. So like that's like always a movie that stuck out to me in the year that I graduated.
I agree, Ryan. Yeah, I remember seeing B movie in cinemas.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
still
man.
holds up.
Yeah. What year was that?
2007.
Might still have the ticket.
Probably do.
I might do. Yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a good while though, so I need to rewatch it.
Yeah, I recently rewatched it and I was like, this is great. I really like this.
Oh man, no, great pick. I guess for me, I mean, easy, obvious one, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Probably because as like in high school, I was quite a quiet kid, and then
Mhm.
towards the end of high school, like secondary school, we call it in the UK. I kind of went from like shy kid to like having some confidence, and it's through seeing Marty McFly's character and George McFly stand up to bullies and stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm going to leave it at that because I could rant about that all day. So yeah, Back to the Future.
Fair enough. We'll go with that. Let's see. We had a couple things.
We'll probably go for a few more comments and probably start wrapping things up, guys.
Sounds good. We got Ryan Swale saying, "What do you think of the Borderlands trailer? It looks so bad, in my opinion. I rushed for the remote to skip it or leave the room if that's not about it." Dude, I didn't like it either. It looks terrible. I'm not watching that movie.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
It looks weird. Like what turns me off is Kevin Hart. Isn't Kevin? I think Kevin Hart's in that movie, right?
Yeah.
Because like we got a few trailers that were kind of like the same like realm. Because we had that. I think Boy Kills World. They all kind of came out around that same time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree that doesn't look good.
No.
Let's see. Oh, and he said Hannibal King is Deadpool before Deadpool in Blade Trinity.
Oh, okay.
Did not know that.
No, I forgot. I'll be honest.
Let's see. Sin says, "Well, hello. In between events,
Hey, Sin.
Sitting in the combo for a bit before I have to leave again." Well, thank you, Sin. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sin. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the Comic Con.
She's saying I was not pleased. Euphemistic way of saying I was pissed.
They always put it in a kind way.
Apocalypto, not one talked about much, so brutal, but great movie. Yeah, I gotta see it. I've never seen it.
Definitely agree, Ryan. Great movie.
Yes, organs and blood is flying everywhere in that film, so be warned.
Yeah.
Comment about the subtitles. The only time I mind subtitles with the animated film, I definitely prefer dubbed for those.
I actually agree with that. Like, I wouldn't have an issue watching technically with subtitles, but I think I've gotten so used to my animated experience, even if it is foreign animation, because I watched Japanese animation very, very early on when I was still like a kid. But I'm kind of more just used to there being, and I guess it's not as bad to me because dubbing with animation versus live action, because I can't do live action dubbing. I've only done it a couple of times. That was just because I was watching it with someone who wasn't good at keeping up with the subtitles. But with animation, I can kind of give a little more grace for that, even though I don't have an issue technically hearing the actual Japanese language.
I think it depends, because with anime, some dubbing's great as long as they've put the work and the effort and they've spent the budget to get good voice actors for the dubbing.
That's true.
But I watched the last time I watched it, my favorite anime movie of all time, Your Name. Mm-hmm. I watched it in the dubbing, and it had like the English songs, and I was like, this is not great at all. I was like, I need the Japanese experience, and it just took away from the film for me. So yeah. I think it depends on the dubbing, but the dubbing for, the English dub for Death Note anime series is fantastic. However, really good. So I think it really just depends on the costs, budget, and all that kind of stuff.
Right. We got a lot of people commenting about subtitles on here. And then Sin comments on the audio thing. It does also feel like actors' movies these days don't enunciate words as clearly as in movies from ages ago. For this reason, I often use subtitles also if there's noise in the background.
I agree.
Definitely can agree with that. A movie that was weird on audio, I don't know if you guys have ever I think you've watched it. I don't know. I don't remember. But the Boogeyman had some audio issues with that movie because like it would be like really quiet and then really loud.
Mm-hmm.
So like sometimes you get that.
The new one or the older one?
The new one does. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, it's like quiet at points. And the thing is, I saw it in the theater and I watched it on Hulu as well. And it's still the same thing. Like it's the audio's up and down. It'll be quiet, and all of a sudden you'll hear bang, and you'll be like, "Damn, this is too loud." So it is all over the place.
Okay. I do want to check it out though.
Man, Ryan, when you nearly said The Conjuring change it for the better, had me worried. No, it didn't change it for the better.
Listen.
It didn't change it for the better.
I'm like, tell us what's really going on, Ryan.
And that's pretty much the end of the comments. I guess we'll go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. I do want to thank everybody for joining in, leaving comments, and watching now or after the fact. Thank you, D, for joining in on the conversation. Appreciate it. Legend himself. Definitely subscribe to his channel. He does series reviews, getting back into doing more movies again. So look out for more content on that side of things. And then thank you, Mike, for joining me for another podcast episode. We got 4 in the books now. Definitely subscribe to him as well. He's got a lot of stuff as well. Always a whole bunch of different reviews and such. So definitely subscribe to his channel if you're not subscribed. And I'll just go ahead and say that get ready to close out. Do you guys have anything coming up on your channels or anything else you want to add to the discussion?
And well, D, as our guest, what have you got coming up?
Well, yes, like I said, I just dropped the American Society of Magical Negroes, and I have plenty of thoughts on that one. Whoo! Yes. So there's that. You can check that out. For those of you who don't know or didn't hear earlier, I had a chance to check out the Sundance Film Festival in person, and I have a whole lot of films to do a ranking for. And of course, depending on when certain films get released, I'm going to do kind of like these mini individual reviews for those as well, because it was just a really gratifying experience overall. I think up next, I'm probably going to do, I kind of did a out of theater reaction to this at the festival, but Frida, Carla Gutierrez, her documentary about the life of Frida Kahlo, that will actually be premiering on Prime next week. So I think I will just knock out, just give some additional thoughts on that, because it really was actually one of my favorite. Definitely up there. I think actually the documentaries ended up being some of the best. Even though the narrative films were great, but the documentaries just took it somewhere else. So anyway, please stay tuned for more reviews from the Sundance Film Festival and the occasional film that's coming out as I get back into the theater and my theater excursions. Been trying to balance work and all that, but just trying to delve in, because at the core, movies, that's life for me.
Looking forward to it.
Definitely, D. I look forward to seeing more of your movie reviews as well, and your Sundance videos, because I know we've talked about that off camera.
Yeah, and Mike is tired of having to comment on my recaps to be supportive. He's like, "This is fine, but I don't watch these shows. Do some movies. Come on."
But even at the fact that if we don't watch the shows, like you still have like the analysis of getting us interested to, all the drama and everything. Because I know you watch like what's the can't remember the show now. I don't know. You always introduce me to shows I don't know about. So, right. The way I look at it is, I mean, it's entertaining and you get to listen to your thoughts. So it's, if you can do that, I mean, that to me, like you're doing a good job. So.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. And what's up with you, Mike? What do you got coming up?
So either tomorrow or Monday, I've got a review for a documentary called Create or Die, which is following like a filmmaker in their journey to making an indie movie. So that will be coming. And then I'll be honest with you, Ryan, I don't know.
Okay.
Nice. Besides that, I don't know. Apart from next Saturday, I'm going to go see that Immaculate, the Sydney Sweeney new horror.
Yep, I'm going to see that.
I'll be checking that out. But besides that, I don't know, dude. I guess you just have to wait and see.
Sounds
Wait and
good.
see in the
I'll
channel.
wait for a surprise.
But maybe next Sunday, if everyone's available, possibly Titanic: The Legend Continues watch along. So
Ooh, that sounds good.
D, are you free next Sunday?
Absolutely.
I know I am.
There we go. There's two suckers having two great friends coming to watch along.
I'll be looking forward to it. As far as my channel, I just dropped Imaginary today. I'm going to review One Life. That'll be coming soon, and then I have 2 unboxings for a couple Scream Factory titles that I picked up, and I'll unbox those for you guys. And they're going to be coming out. All I'll say is they're going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks, and I'll unbox those for you guys. And then I know this week I'm going to go see Love Lies Bleeding. I have a screener for that early, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. And then I think I'm going to double up that day because that screening is kind of late in the day. So I think I'm going to take a shot at seeing Madam Web and seeing how that goes. I saw that eyebrows. So we'll see how it goes. And that's what I got coming up. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up. And you're welcome, by the way, for answering questions, Casual Fan.
Yeah, thank you, Casual Fan. Go subscribe to that guy and this guy right here. 2 legends.
Definitely appreciate you guys joining. And we'll go ahead and we'll end this episode.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you very much.